next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.
Step back, call game like Dame. Now they all know our name. Crossover, then go straight to the hezzy. I'm a dunker like Denny. Small market, yeah, we making it big. Now we got too many cameras. Clinging on guards like Drew. You can't even move, ain't nobody stopping us. Rip City turn up, we making some noise. Pass to the present, we getting like Roy. More to be rockin', we bringing the force. Gang with a dime, that's a bucket, of course. If straight about it dunk, you gotta move. Young and still hustling like Scoop. Come and tap in, see what's new. Blazers Uprise on the crew.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Sleeper. Your Portland Trail Blazers today, they just win another basketball game. You know, a very, very simple, easy win against the Houston Rockets. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. This was a wild, wild game. The Blazers win by a single point. They get their fourth straight win. They moved to 18-20 on the year. And it looked like they had lost there for a second. But Tari Eason's game-winning tip-in was about, like 1/20th of a second too late. Like, that was as close as it gets. It looked like the Blazers might have lost this game, but they won this game. And what a fun win this was against a good Rockets team, even without Alperen Şengün. The Blazers, shorthanded themselves, missing a bunch of talent themselves, are rattling off wins. That's 6 wins in 7 games for your Blazers. They're getting it done in different ways from game to game. This game, they held Houston to 102 points, scored 103 themselves. This was a hard-fought battle. Deni Avdija continues to play like a top 15 player in the NBA lately. I mean, top 10 player in the NBA lately. I don't know. Maybe a top 5 player in the NBA lately. Of course, he won Player of the Week last week. He's making a pretty good case already to win back-to-back Player of the Weeks because he dropped a season-high 41 points in this one, 2 short of his career high, which was a 43-point game that he set with Washington. There is so much to talk about today, from the overturned call, from the Blazers fouling up 3. Maybe they should stop doing that. We're going to discuss that. Thankfully, it didn't fully backfire. Barely. And of course, we're going to talk about what this win means, because this is a fantastic win for the Blazers to be able to beat a team that was 22-11 going into tonight and to continue their momentum, continue to rattle off wins. They're only 2 games below 500 right now. So really looking forward to this postgame show. I'm as hyped for this postgame show as any postgame show this season, man. I'm looking forward to this one. Hopefully you are as well. Eric, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
Oh, good. That tip-in was ruled after the buzzer. That was was about to be added to the list of heartbreakers at the buzzer this year, right? Jeez, man. How many of those can we get in one season?
Yeah, that was 2025 where we had 3. I think it was an NBA record. 3 buzzer beaters hit against the Blazers in 2025. No team had ever had that happen in one calendar year. We were going to start off this year trying to beat that mark with a buzzer beater on January 7th, and luckily it was not to be.
Yeah, thankfully. And yeah, just, I mean, Deni was freaking awesome in this game. He was fantastic. The Blazers, once again, do a bunch of stuff that usually could lead to a loss when you play like that down the stretch, but Deni made just enough plays there in that fourth quarter. Several and ones that were huge, and it's just enough to hold off the Rockets. But man, they played so well at times in this game, and then other times there was a possession it seemed like 6 offensive rebounds they gave up in one possession, but the Rockets somehow don't score on it. We get totally blasted on the boards, and I think we lost the rebounds by like 19 or 20. And then we have, once again, a questionable referee call towards the end of the game. I don't know how you overturn that one. We'll have to get into that later. And then, Tori, have you ever lost a tooth while playing basketball?
No, luckily I have not. I've almost lost an eye. I still have the scar. Wait, what eye was it? I don't remember. I still have the scar. You can see the scar. I almost lost an eye, but I've never lost a tooth, thankfully. But it's funny because losing that tooth made Tamani better or something. So I like toothless Tamani.
got like superpowers from it or something.
Yeah, he had back-to-back drives where he took the ball strong on a drive and finished.
Yeah.
How often do you see back-to-back drives that go well from Tamati Kamara? Well, he lost a tooth. I guess that woke him up a little bit. So that was awesome. Then he hits a 3 shortly after that. Tamati went on a little run after losing that tooth. So shout out to Toothless Tamati.
Yeah, absolutely. Just happy we got another win to talk about. It was awesome performance, shorthanded once again. And I mean, Denny's the story tonight. 41 points. Just made every play we needed him to make in this game.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about when I said people should stop making so many excuses. This team is capable of more. Well, I didn't expect them to win 6 out of 7 games. I love it, and I love that they're putting themselves in the conversation for the 8th seed and being a part of that 7 versus 8 play-in. I said that was the goal a while ago, but it looked like it might be tough. You got the tiebreaker against Golden State, and they are certainly capable of catching Golden State. They are certainly capable of getting an 8 seed this year. And if they keep playing like this, man, I don't know. I still eye Phoenix there at 7. Like, how far can they go? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but this is starting to remind me of that stretch they went on last year where they won 10 out of 11 games. But this doesn't really feel as fluky. Like, this team is playing good basketball. They dominated Utah, but that's what they're supposed to do, right? They had a comfortable win against New Orleans. That's what they're supposed to do. They were shorthanded, 2 bad teams. We've seen them struggle against bad teams in the past few years, so they're doing what they're supposed to do against bad teams. And then they're competitive against good teams, except for OKC, who is struggling with every other team, except for that game against us lately. They almost lost to the Jazz tonight at home, the same Jazz that the Portland Trailblazers just blew out. That's their only loss in these last 7 games is on the road at OKC in a game where the Blazers just didn't seem to mentally show up on New Year's Eve. We've seen that before on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day where the Blazers just play one of their worst games of the season. Outside of that, they're doing what they're supposed to do. But it's some games it's the offense, some games it's the defense. Today it was the defense. I thought this was maybe the Blazers' best defensive game of the season, if you don't count defensive rebounding as part of defense. Because as we take a look at the team stats...
I mean, you have to, yeah.
I view I'll phrase it this way, okay? Defense leading up to the initial shot was really, really good today. Collecting the misses that they were missing was really, really rough today. But this is what Houston does, right? Houston is the best offensive rebounding team in the league. I believe they're the only team better than Portland on the offensive glass, and they dominated Portland on the offensive glass. 24 offensive rebounds. I thought they were getting away with some shoves, some physicality there that definitely could have been called. Definitely gets called against Portland a little bit more than I saw it called against Houston today. But Portland does a bad job of... they had some moments where they boxed out. The possession where they give up 4 offensive rebounds was a bunch of long misses where they were boxing out and the ball just keeps going over their heads, and sometimes that's going to happen, right? You're not going to be able to collect every defensive rebound. Sometimes the ball bounces in a weird way and it doesn't go to you, even if you're doing all the right things, even if you're boxing out. And there's certainly some plays like that today for the Blazers. In that possessions in particular was frustrating how the ball kept going to Houston, missing 3 after 3 after 3, which is what Houston did in this game. They did not make threes in this game. 8 for 36 from 3, 22%. I think the Blazers, this was maybe the first game of the year where I was like, man, they seemed ready for their opponent going into this game and had a good game plan. They were rotating off of Amen Thompson. They were rotating a bit off of Josh Okogie, who's an okay 3-point shooter, but not one of their better ones. You let Reed Shepherd get some looks that he is certainly capable of hitting, and he missed a couple of looks. So did Jabari Smith. These guys are good shooters, so there was definitely a little bit of luck there today. But I really like how the Blazers were rotating off the right shooters in this game, forcing the ball to Amen Thompson, who... let me pull up the box score. I don't know how many threes he shot. It would be frustrating as a Rockets fan to see him shoot as many threes as he did today. He only shot 4, but he's 1 for 4, and he's a 20% 3-point shooter. You look at... Okogie goes 0 for 2 off the bench. I'm looking at field goals. Okogie misses his only 3 off the bench in 13 minutes. Tari Eason was 2 for 8. He's certainly capable of shooting them, but I thought the Blazers did a good job of collapsing and then flying back out at shooters. And they didn't fly back out at Amen Thompson because you want him shooting threes at this point in his career. And they didn't really let much get to the rim, it felt like. It felt like they did a good job of being physical enough on drives to not get beat without fouling. The Blazers, I think, have done a better job lately without fouling. They sent them to the line 29 times, but it feels better than it was. Like, they're doing a good job being physical, being competitive at the point of attack without getting beat off the dribble, without being too soft. And lately, without fouling at the rate that they were earlier this season. That was their biggest Achilles heel defensively. I was really impressed with the defense today. I thought Tamani did a lot of good things defensively today. Kevin Durant has 37, and he has efficient shooting night. He's 14 for 26, but literally nobody else got going. I guess Amen was 8 for 16. He did some damage inside the arc, but outside of that, Tari Eason 15 points. Their next highest score was 8 off the bench from Reed Shepherd. So you let Kevin Durant get his. I thought they let him middle a little bit too much. I don't like him getting to that free throw line, getting to the nail and shooting that shot. He's elite at it. But you can let him get his, especially without Şengün. You can let him get his, and you can still have a good defensive night if you don't let him beat you from 3. And they go 8 for 36 from 3, 22%. What do you think of the defense today that the Blazers played?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. If you, like you said, just include the initial defensive rotations before the shot goes up. I did think it was the third quarter when we got into the bonus with like 7.5 minutes left, but we were also in the bonus, so I guess it kind of balanced out. But man, I thought City was the only exception to what you were saying about playing physical but being a little smarter, less about it. Like, City once again had some terrible fouls in this game, including 2 in the third quarter that sent them into the line both times. But other than that, yeah, I do feel like they're doing a pretty good job of flying out on shooters. And the defensive game plan, they did run zone a lot, especially in the second half. And it was, we got pretty lucky with Houston going cold there. They only shoot 22% from 3. So that helps a lot, obviously. But I didn't think it was too bad. It's just, we've talked about this before. The zone, even if you get a stop, it's really hard to rebound out of the zone if you're a bad rebounding team or don't have guys that locate the ball well while it's in the air. And especially for giving up 3-point shots, like you mentioned, that one possession in particular, a lot of the rebounds go long, and it's really hard to find a rebound. It's like you're chasing a ball that you're never going to get on those offensive rebounds. And it's a mixed bag there with the zone, but tonight it actually works, and you can't really complain when you hold a team that's as good as the Rockets to 102.
Yeah, the Blazers only fouled him 21 times, but they shot 29 free throws, 4 more free throws than the Blazers, despite the Blazers fouling 5 times less. So, I was making my point about it. Feels like they're fouling less, and then I looked at the free throw number, like, oh, they shot 29, but 21 fouls. They just, basically every foul was a shooting foul in this game, unfortunately. Luckily, the Rockets didn't have the best free throw shooting night either. It just goes back to the discipline. This turnaround, to me, points to 3 things. One of those things is, as there's guys that are shooting the 3 better. Donovan Clingan, he was 2 for 6. He got like 2 grenades in this game. He's gotten a lot of grenades, and he was 2 for 4 at one point in this game, and at that point he was 17 for his last 31 from 3, which is insane over the last 11 games. He missed his last 2, but he's gotten some grenades over that stretch where he's having to shoot turning to the right. I mean, when he's able to get his feet set and has a little bit of space, he's practically automatic from three right now. Shane Sharp shooting a better three ball, shot 44% in December from three. And Caleb Love shooting the three ball better. Those guys stepping up and knocking down threes is one of the major reasons why this team has been much, much better lately. The other two reasons are on this graphic. It's the fouls, cutting those down, as well as the turnovers and not turning over the ball 20 plus times in a game. And I like the Blazers' chances, even against solid teams, if they can have equal or fewer turnovers than the opposing team and fewer fouls. I like the Blazers' odds. They had been shooting themselves in the foot before this stretch in ways that they were better than. And I was sitting here telling people they should be better than this. I know they're injured. I know everybody is annoyed with me when I come out here and I say this team should not be turning over the ball so much because people just want to make excuses. They have no point guards. What do you expect? Of course, they're going to have a lot of turnovers. Well, it looks like they can actually take care of the ball without point guards. It looks like they were certainly capable of doing a better job taking care of the ball and doing a better job not fouling. That's why I was criticizing them. When everybody else was making the injury excuse, that's why I was criticizing this team. They were way too sloppy. Some of their turnovers were inexcusable, inexplicable. These are still NBA players, talented guys on the floor, and there was so much room for improvement without looking at the injuries in the turnover department, and they've made that improvement. There was so much room for improvement, just being more disciplined defensively, and they've made that improvement. And would you look at that? Now they're able to win games like this. Now they're able to win 6 out of 7 games. Now they're close to 500. They're 18-20. Having a few more guys knock down more threes, cleaning up the turnovers and cleaning up the fouls is saving their season and giving them a chance to play their way up into the top 8 in the West.
Yeah, and it's the excuses towards the beginning of the season were, well, when you play this way, guys get tired and you can't play. Remember, we were having to play like 12 deep on the roster, and we're still playing a lot of guys despite the injuries and all that kind of stuff. Man, the over-aggressiveness from earlier in the season, it felt like it was just leading to a lot of easy baskets from the other team. And once they went and just started playing solid base defense and getting back on defense, not allowing easy baskets, and rebounding has been better lately. Obviously, it wasn't good in this game, but overall, they've been better than they were at the beginning of the season, rebounding wise. And so you mix all those things together, and it's just a good recipe for winning games when you have a player like Denny who can just take over a game and score at will and just completely destroy the other team's defensive game plan.
Yep, absolutely. We have multiple plays down the stretch that we need to go over.
Oh, jeez, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. So we're gonna stop at each one and give our thoughts because there's a bunch.
Before we start getting into the individual ones, let me just say, see, this is exactly what I think of when you say what you said earlier about how even though we had all the injuries early in the season, like they still could have played better. And this game is the perfect example of that, because if they would have ended up losing this game, let's say the Tari Eason tip-in counts, you could say all day, like anyone who wants to make an excuse could say, well, we were down 7 players. We only lost by 1 to the Rockets. That's a really good moral victory, right? But the Blazers had complete control of this game, up 7 with like 50 seconds left or something. Maybe it was a little more than that, but they had control of this game and were up 2 possessions late in this game on multiple times, decided to play the foul game, all that stuff we'll talk about. But this is what we mean when we say that we don't like just giving the excuse that injuries means you can't win games, because they almost gave this game away. And I wouldn't have wanted to hear that, oh, well, what are they supposed to do? They're playing the Rockets and we only lost by 1. when we had the ball up 1 with 5 seconds left and turned the ball over again. Like, that's been a problem all season. So, like, once we get into this, I just want people to realize that that's why we don't pander to that kind of talk, or don't like to have those kind of narratives to where, oh yeah, this team is just so great despite the injuries. Who cares if they lose a bunch of games and get 8 games below 500 or whatever they were at one point, because this team is still good despite the injuries, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the players, which there's certain players that are making this team legitimately good right now, despite the other guys that are missing. And obviously there's one guy that's starring right now. Before we get into the play-by-play, shout out to Free Throw Guy with a $5 donation. Says, what a win. Maybe the greatest win ever known to man. A win that many said couldn't be done by anyone. Thank you for your attention to the super chat. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. Let's jump into the play-by-play. So, where should I start this? All right, we got the fourth quarter. Well, let's just kind of like breeze through the game here. The Blazers start off just pretty neck and neck with Houston. And if we quickly go back to the graphic here, they did lead 78% of the game. Houston only led 10. A lot of these graphics, now that ESPN puts up the percentage led during the course of the game, it's funny, since they started putting that up, the Blazers have dominated. Even in a 1-point win like this, 78% of the lead. There was a couple times Houston brought it back and tied it, and then the Blazers rebuilt their lead. So this was pretty close throughout the first quarter. Blazers ended up 3 at the end of the first, started off this game pretty well. Houston made a little bit of a run there to start the second, got up 32-29. But, I mean, this is just pretty back and forth until...
It was back and forth until, towards the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, it was tied at 40 with 4 minutes left, and then the Blazers end up going on a 12-2 run to get up 52-44. They end up with an 11-point lead at one point. This was their biggest lead of the game. They were up 57-46 with about 30 seconds left in the first half. Of course, then City Sissoko fouls Kevin Durant. He splits a pair of free throws at the line. City Sissoko's fouls. We'll get into it once we start a deep dive on him. But 10-point lead going into halftime. Felt pretty good about this one. But the Blazers' ugly starts to third quarters reared their head. Again, they had been better in this regard, but this was an issue early in the season as Houston comes out and immediately goes on a, let me do math here, 11-2 run. 11-2 run for Houston in the first 4 minutes and 15 seconds of the second half. The Blazers could not buy a bucket during the stretch. Their only bucket was a Denny bucket. Nobody else really showed up during the stretch. Caleb Love missed a 3. City Sissoko had another foul, which actually got him subbed out of the game for Caleb Love to miss that 3. Tamani missed a 3. Klingon missed a 3. City Sissoko had another defensive foul, so there's 2 defensive fouls to start this half from him. Denny had a turnover. Sharp missed a mid-range, and I believe this was a play where Klingon was wide open on the pop. Sharp had some really rough decision-making in this game, I thought. I'll dive into that later. But just really rough start to the second half, and sometimes the Blazers have come out and just look sleepy, but for me, it was kind of just like they're missing some shots. Shots that fell a couple nights ago. Every shot seemed to fall against Utah. Wasn't quite so pretty today, but what did the Blazers do? They call timeout. They regroup, and they build a 6-point lead after that, and basically kind of kept a 6-point lead throughout the second half. Throughout the second half, I don't believe they were ever up more than 6. Houston came back and tied it early in the fourth, 84-84. Then Portland immediately goes on a 7-0 run after that. So every time Houston comes back and ties it or gets it to 1 point, the Blazers then make a run of their own. They really did a good job of just maintaining control of this basketball game. This is what I was impressed with. Like, never a point where Houston had momentum and it got the better of Portland. Like, we've seen things snowball for this team the past few years where there's games where they have a 7-point lead and then they're down 20, or they give up a 15-point lead in the final 2 minutes against the Kings less than a month ago. Things are certainly capable of snowballing on this team, but this game was super impressive because every time Houston went on a run, didn't matter. Didn't matter. Portland staved off that comeback. But here's where we're going to get into individual plays. All right. So Portland is up 9 points with 2 minutes left.
Well, real quick, early in the fourth quarter, we went like 3.5 minutes without scoring. That almost, I thought that was going to cost us the game, but
we had 3 points in the first.
No, we scored 84 with 10:49 left and didn't score again until 8:06.
So almost 3 minutes not scoring. Yeah, not pretty.
But once again, the Rockets tie the game, and then we go on a little run to bump it back up again. Yeah. All right, so up 9.
Yeah, so Blazers get up 9, and Denny, I got to go through this play-by-play because I'm forgetting how many and ones Denny had in the last 3 minutes of this game because it felt like a million, and they were all fouls.
It was a million.
Yeah, and they were all fouls. Like, people give Denny a lot of crap for foul baiting and blah, 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 blah. That dude gets fouled, legitimately fouled, all game long. I don't know what people are watching. All these and ones down the stretch were fouls. Like, he was finishing through contact. So he gets an and one with 2 minutes left. That was that little 10-foot fadeaway, which he's starting to shoot more of. And at his size, with his touch and the way he can push downhill and then stop on a dime and then turn back for that shot, that's an unguardable shot. If he can knock that down 50% of the time, that's what guys like Cade Cunningham shoot. That's what shots like Devin Booker shoot. Like, guys that have been or are in fringe superstar conversations. They're obviously all-star caliber players. Denny, I think at this point, is obviously an all-star caliber player, and he's playing like a superstar right now because he's making shots like that. Obviously, he's living out of line, but he got fouled on that turnaround. His left arm got hit. Can't hit a shooter in the arms when they're shooting a shot. He goes to the line. He finishes a free throw. All right, that's and one number 1 in the final 2 minutes. He then... Let's see here. Kevin Durant makes a mid-range jumper to cut the lead to 7. Then Caleb Love with 4 on the shot clock misses a 3. This was with the Blazers up 7. This felt like it would have been a dagger 3. Mm-hmm. When he missed that 3, I was like, oh, we're leaving the door cracked open. I don't feel good about this. And I was right for that feeling. But just, crunch time, the Blazers up 7. They kind of didn't really get much action. And at that point in the game, I get it. You're trying to waste time, but being up only 7, I would like for them to kind of work for a better shot a little bit earlier. It's not the worst look, but... Yeah.
Okay, so Durant gets the rebound, and then Kamara fouls him. Do you think Thiago should have challenged that one?
I'm forgetting the play. Because I'm thinking of the charge call.
It's the one where Durant. Obviously he called it. He challenged the charge one, but
on a rebound, or are you talking about the turnaround where?
No, this is the one where Durant shot like a little 10-footer and Tamani didn't even touch him. He was straight up, didn't even make any contact with him.
I thought he should have. Because then he ends up challenging a block charge call, which you rarely ever get overturned. It's a bang-bang call. If they called that a charge and it got challenged by Houston, I think they would have kept that play a charge, the one that Thiago challenged. So that's why, in that situation, it gives Tamani his 5th foul, and it was obviously not a foul. That's one of those plays where it's like, okay, that's not a foul. That is BS, because he didn't get touched. The ref didn't have an angle on the play and just guessed, which I hate that refs guess. If you're going to guess, let it go, especially if it makes a shot. I hate that, but... I did think Thiago should challenge that.
Yeah, because clearly, I guess he has his left hand on Durant's back when he starts to drive, but he releases it way before Durant goes up for the shot and then doesn't touch him at all, and then runs to the bench. He actually got a delay of game warning on this, but he runs over to the bench, telling them the challenge and that he didn't touch him. But yeah.
And there's 1:09 left in a what became a 4-point game because he got an extra free throw. Every point matters, as we saw. Every point matters.
Well, it does, but at the time I was thinking that's the only way I can. I mean, like you said, 1 point matters huge in this game. Might have cost us the game if we lost, but the only thing I can think of is Thiago wanted to save it for a situation where it was more than 1 point on the line because
you only
he
have
made the shot. So
you only have 3 offensive possessions left if you played this game right. You know what I mean?
I know.
So yeah, I don't like waiting for a chance to
if you win
save.
it.
Yeah, but
you would still get a second.
What are the odds you're gonna get a play that's as obvious as a winnable challenge that saves more than 1 point?
Yeah.
Especially when you have Tamani picking up his 5th foul as well. He absolutely should have challenged that. Absolutely should have challenged that.
I mean, the way the refs called
a
this game, maybe they would have called a foul on Tamani still or upheld it.
I don't know. But I guess a possession-saving challenge down the stretch might be more valuable than that. So I guess I understand if he's saving it for that reason. But this was the play with 1:09 left. The Rockets back-to-back 3-point plays. Not back-to-back 3-point plays. Blazers were up 9. KD hits that mid-range. Caleb Love misses that 3. And then with 1:09 left, this play happens. It's an and one for KD. It was a BS call. I thought the Rockets got a lot of BS calls in the fourth quarter, especially to start the fourth quarter. But then he shot 15 free throws, so I'm not allowed to complain about calls going the other way, right? So, all jokes aside. Then he comes down with they take 21 seconds off the clock, and Denny attacks KD at the rim. He is fearless, dude. KD's a 7-footer. And I know he's older, not as athletic, but Denny just drives right at him and finishes right around him, finishes on him, and it's a foul on KD. Because how do you defend a dude coming at you like that and just extending and reaching around you for a finger roll? It's really hard to not foul in that situation. And that's just Denny just attacking and being absolutely relentless. Gets an and one. Huge play. This should have been the play that sealed the game. The Blazers up 6. Then he makes a free throw. It's a 3-possession lead. But for the first time in Moda Center, he gets MVP chance. Which I want to ask chat and ask what you think about this. Oh, is it not true?
There's been multiple games this year, including the game I went to, where
legitimate MVP chance.
Yeah, you could hear it
loud. You can hear it on the TV. MVP chance, legitimate MVP chance.
It's happened before.
I've heard 2 sections in Moda Center get an MVP chant going, but not like that. That was legitimate MVP chance. And he was asked about this after the game. Because he then misses the free throw with these MVP chants. He was asked about this after the game. What do you think about the MVP chants? It gives you goosebumps, okay, did the MVP chants make him miss the free throw? If it gave him goosebumps? I don't know.
More importantly, though, with 48.9 seconds left, this would be the last point we score of the game.
Yeah, not pretty. But I was wondering, when I heard MVP chance, I'm oh no, what if he misses this free throw? He's not too used to getting an MVP chance, I don't know. He's missed a lot of end-of-game free throws with or without MVP chance, unfortunately. But Bulls too, he got MVP chance. Yeah, that was the loudest I've heard it. I haven't really heard it on TV before. I've heard it in person. Tori, I heard a section chant MVP last game. I was at the last game and I didn't hear it. So. But then he doesn't convert the and one. Still super impressive drive. That's the second and one. I think he had a third and one a little bit before these final minutes. Yeah, he had a little 7-foot floater with 3:49 left in the fourth quarter. He leads the league in and ones. It's funny because I'll have people argue with me on Twitter he just drives and doesn't even try and score. He just runs into people and isn't even trying to score. It's like, okay, how does he lead the league in and ones then? How does he have 3 and ones in the final 4 minutes of a clutch game against a good defense then? You know? So that was funny. That was funny to hear from Rockets fans before he finishes 3 and ones in the final 4 minutes on them. There's a lot of poetry to this game, you know? But, all right, here's where things start to get interesting. Here's where we have to have some conversations, all right? So, the Blazers get an offensive rebound off that missed free throw from Denny. They would take 10 seconds off the clock, so there's 4 on the clock because the clock resets to 14 on the offensive board. Denny gets blocked at the rim. This time, Kevin Durant is able to win that battle. He blocks Denny at the rim. Then the Rockets come down, and in transition, Tamani tries to take a charge against Amen Thompson. And he was moving, he was backpedaling, but this is the play that Thiago challenges. The block charge call doesn't work out. The Blazers this time are up 6.
Tamani's out.
Yeah.
Fouled out.
Yeah. Where did they go? Dude, this box score, I swear it's glitched. Because it says 97-103, and then Amen got those 2 free throws and missed one and got it to 100. I don't know. Box score might be glitched that I'm referencing here. A lot happened in this game. I wish I could recall every single detail off the top of my head, but there was so much that happened. So Amen splits free throws, cuts the lead to 3. 32 seconds left on the clock, so the Blazers don't have the last shot. Like, Rockets don't have to foul. They do waste out the shot clock, which you should do in this situation, and Caleb Love misses another dagger 3. Misses a step back 25-foot 3. It was a tough shot with like 2 on the shot clock, but that possession was fine. When you're down, when you're up 3 with 32 seconds left when you get the ball, you don't want to take a quick shot. But here's the conversation we need to have. The Rockets get the rebound, and the Blazers foul Kevin Durant at half court with 6 seconds left to make him shoot 2 free throws since they're up 3. They play we're up 3, we're going to foul you so you can shoot 2 free throws. And the argument I've always heard for this is like, it's really hard to get beaten when you're up 3 and you foul to make them shoot 2 free throws, and you can't lose. Like, I've heard people make that argument. I don't know if you've ever heard people make that argument about fouling up 3 to send them to the line for 2, but like, oh, it's like almost impossible to lose. You should always play the odds there. Okay? I tweeted out when they did this, I don't like the Blazers doing this, okay? And we're going to get into the reasons why. But they fouled Kevin Durant too, so he's a 90% free throw shooter. I would have liked it if they fouled Amen Thompson, who was 6 for 10 from the free throw line. I don't know if he finished 6 for 10, but at one point the broadcast was saying he was 6 for 10 for the free throw line. If it was a worse free throw shooter, I like this strategy a little bit more, but Kevin Durant's automatic from the free throw line. So Kevin Durant makes both free throws, and this is with 6 seconds left. The Rockets had 2 timeouts at this point, and the Blazers call a timeout, and now it forces them to throw the ball in on the sidelines. I have no faith in this team in crunch time, Eric, being able to successfully inbound the ball on the sidelines. I also have no faith in them being able to hit 2 clutch free throws. And with the other team having 2 timeouts, I hated this strategy for those reasons. We've seen the strategy backfire multiple times. In this instance, the strategy completely backfired. They just got lucky that the tip-in was 0.1 seconds late, right? You can't lose a game in the final 6 seconds with them coming down the floor and you're up 3. The best they can do is hit a 3 to tie it, unless you foul them. You just don't foul them if they're shooting a 3, right? You can't lose the game that way. And they have to shoot a 3. They have 6 seconds left. If they drive and score with 4 seconds left, that's just the same exact result as if you foul them at half court with 6 seconds left to make them shoot the free throws for the 2 points. The thing is, if they drive all the way, that takes more time off the clock. So really, they have to sell out for the 3 in that situation. You should be able to defend that, okay? That's what they should have done. But instead, they foul. Kevin Durant makes both free throws. Now the Blazers are up 1. And then the Rockets, of course, are going to deny the inbounds after the timeout on the sidelines. And the Blazers run an awful play where nobody gets open. Once again, we've seen this so many times this year in crunch time. They try and inbound to Caleb Love. He gets shoved in the back. They call a foul, and then they overturn it upon review. And then the Rockets got the ball back. KD missed the jumper.
Good.
But we'll circle back. I just want to finish the recap. We'll circle back to the inbounds play. But this is just like my reason for like why also I don't like this strategy. Now, instead of Kevin Durant having the ball with 6 seconds left at half court without like being set up and you're up 3 and they have to force a shot, like no time came off the clock and they get a timeout and now you're only up 1 and there's 6 seconds left and they get to run an inbounds. Like you just automatically put yourself in a much worse position because you can't inbounds, but we should expect that. That's why they should not do this strategy until they learn how to inbounds on the sideline late in the game. So then final play, up 1. Kevin Durant misses the jumper. The Blazers almost screw up this final defensive possession. We'll talk about it after we circle back to the challenge from Houston. But KD misses the jumper. Tari Eason tip in 0.1 seconds late. Like that's as close as it gets. Blazers eke out a win. And that's how things played out in this one. Eric, what were your thoughts on the challenge by Houston, the inbounds play by Portland, where they tried to inbound to Caleb Love and they turned it over after review?
Could we go back to the foul? You didn't give me a chance to talk about that either.
Yeah,
The fouling up 3. So
this all kind of goes into it. So yeah, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, but that's before the inbound pass. I hate it as a fan, the fouling 1 up 3. But I do think it is smart. I do think it was the right play. I think ideally you'd want Kevin Durant to dribble a couple more times because he's not pulling up from 35 feet or something on that. So maybe you let him get a little past half court before you foul. It is a little sketchy with the 2 timeouts, but I mean, 2 timeouts versus 1 timeout doesn't really matter with that little time left. So in my mind, it's the right strategy because, in my opinion, every NBA team should be able to execute a simple inbounds play, and then you're fine. You get 2 free throws, and you play the free throw game. And even if you miss 1 of 2, or both, you get put in this situation. But you're still up 2 if you make 1 of 2, and yeah, and with that little time, I'm kind of okay with it because if we would have gotten the ball in bounds, it would have taken a few tenths off, and then we probably would have fouled again if we had an opportunity to. I just don't like fouling in the backcourt in that situation unless there's like maybe under 2 seconds left, but then they're going to miss the second free throw on purpose. So yeah, I don't know. But
the tough thing is in transition. If you don't foul there and KD beats you off the dribble, then he can run into a pull-up 3.
Yeah,
and then that might be your last chance to foul.
But he still has 15 feet to go from where you fouled him.
Yeah, but like in transition and on the fly, and Tiago like called it while they're defending in transition. They did something like this. I don't know, some sort of hand signal. It's like really tough to execute that on the fly. Yeah, it could have gone wrong in a number of ways. You could have fouled him on the pull-up, try to get back in the play to foul him, and he pulls up and you run into him. You know what I mean? So you're saying as if you were coaching, if you're a Tiago Splitter, you would have called for them to foul up 3 there?
I don't know if I have the guts to do it, but I do understand the strategy and think it's based on smart logic.
It's smart logic if you can properly inbounds from the sideline and make clutch free throws, and the Blazers unfortunately can't do either of those.
Yes, but in theory, they should be able to execute a simple inbounds pass, and they should be able to make 1 of 2 free throws or whatever. Like, I don't know.
1 of 2 free throws, it still backfires if it's a 2 because then you can't foul, and then they still have as much time left as they had. You got to make both free throws or else it's kind of pointless. It defeats the purpose, in my opinion, because then they could set up a play.
They're not guaranteed to make both free throws. Obviously, Durant was going to in this situation, but they're not guaranteed to make both free throws either.
Yeah, like in theory, sure, but in reality with this team, I don't like it. just because they can't inbounds from the sideline and they don't make clutch free throws. When they did that, Eric, I knew it was going to backfire. I tweeted it in real time. Like, you could tell. What did I tweet? Like, right after they fouled, I said, I don't like playing the foul up 3 game here. Rockets are the best offensive rebounding team in the league. That's the other thing, is they destroyed us on the glass. So if KD decides to miss the second one, I'm not even confident we can get the freaking rebound. I didn't like that they had 2 timeouts left and the Blazers sidelines inbounds and the free throws have been super rough. So
maybe the Blazers shouldn't have called a timeout. They should have just taken it under their basket.
Yeah, Yeah, probably.
Instead of trying to go for the sideline inbounds. Because
you can run the baseline, and your whole goal is just to get it in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But they subbed in Biggs. That's the problem. They subbed in Biggs thinking he might miss the second one, so they subbed in Robert Williams, and they had Donovan Clingan in. So that's the only problem in that situation. Like, theoretically, in theory, it's smart, but if you're coaching a team that can't inbounds the ball on the sidelines and doesn't make clutch free throws, you should not play that game with 6 seconds left when the other team is the best offensive rebound team in the league and has 2 timeouts. Like, yeah. Tori and Eric, do you read live chat? Yes. We just talk about the game.
We try to as much as possible. I mean, it goes pretty fast at times when we're trying to have a conversation, but we try to do as much as possible.
Yeah, we read a lot of comments that we don't respond to, okay? But yeah, like, and you could say they got lucky at the end because that's how you lose the game. With this team, that's how they could lose the game.
Okay.
Compared to him pulling up a 3 and hitting a tough 3 when they have to sell out for a 3 and tying it. And then Blazers would still get a chance to win down the other end. Well, maybe they turn it over and then maybe they pull in Orlando. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, see, my thing is the reasoning behind not doing it is because an NBA team is incompetent at inbounding the ball. That shouldn't be the case, in my opinion. And that's why I go back to it's absolutely disgusting how we still have this problem where we can't even inbound the freaking ball. And so if you just eliminate that and don't have this stupid play every time where someone's running to the sideline and has very little room to catch the ball, even if it is a good pass, which it wasn't, like, you still don't have a lot of room when all your momentum's taking you towards the sideline. If they just pretend they're going to foul or whatever, you could easily fall out of bounds or travel or something. And so I don't really like their play calling or designs either on some of these inbounds passes as well. And so I don't think that should be factored into the overall decision on whether a coach should or shouldn't foul up 3.
We've talked about situational coaching. Situational coaching, for me, a big part of it is you coach based on the strengths and flaws of both teams. And this is obviously a flaw. You should make coaching decisions to try and minimize the flaws potentially losing you the games. You should make the decision that gives you the best chance to win the games with the flaws that you know that you have, right? Like, it's not going to get fixed because they tried to do this and then, you know, they struggle once again. Like, they're not close to fixing this problem, it seems. So you just, in my opinion, you make the call that gives you the best chance to win the game no matter what, even though the flaw is kind of ridiculous how they can't inbounds on the sideline. And even if they get it in, I don't trust them to make 2 clutch free throws. So for me, it's like the right situational call is, you know, that you struggle with this. You know they're the timeouts, good offensive rebounding team. You got to take all that into account. And yeah, theoretically they should be much better, but that's not going to change, you know, until they change it. And obviously they haven't.
But to me, the inbounding issue is on the coaching staff. Like, they're designing horrible plays.
For sure. And
obviously the Blazers aren't executing them either, but like, I feel like they're at fault for the inbounding situation. So them putting themselves in that situation, they have to design.
They're not at fault for their players missing clutch free throws, though, which if they did get it at inbounds, I feel very confident they would have only made 1 or 2.
Okay, but that's just a guess or whatever. Like, we don't know what would have happened. I
Yeah,
mean, who
but how
knows
many
with
times have we
Caleb
seen
Love and
them do that? Like, we know how
yes,
bad they
but
struggle.
yeah. And then, as Omer says in chat, like, why is Shaden inbounding the ball in that situation? Like, one of our most questionable passers or decision makers.
Well,
Like, I know Tamani fouled out, but like,
this is where I was gonna kind of say this because this is actually the answer, but it's kind of a joke. Like, no point guards.
um,
Like
dude,
who would you have had thrown in the ball? Because unless it's Denny, I don't know if I trust anybody.
you know who I would have throwing the ball?
Who?
Donovan Clingan.
Has he ever thrown an inbounds pass in the final 10
I don't know, but
seconds
I
from
trust
the
him.
sideline in his life?
I trust him more than anyone else, other than
Yeah.
Denny, like you said. But he can see over the top. He can throw it over the top. The angle's a little different. It's not coming
Yeah.
like straight across. It's coming more at a down angle. And I feel like he's got the moxie right now with the way he's going at it to make a tough pass and not hesitate when a guy flashes open. It's kind of like a quarterback in the NFL, like when you have quarterbacks who throw guys open, and make a pass to lead someone to a catch, or you have quarterbacks that have to have the guy come open before they throw it, before they can get a pass off. So I don't know. I would have done it with Clingan, but I don't know.
You know what? I do like that. I've just never thought about having a center throw in that situation. Normally
Yeah.
you don't. Normally that's not the guy that you would trust the most to throw in that situation. But on this team, I mean, Denny maybe, but also kind of want him. I don't know. Do you want him at the line? There's just so much iffiness playing it the way they played it. I did not like it. And that's not hindsight. I tweeted in real time when it happened. I'm like, oh no. I've just seen the Blazers situationally lose so many games that I'm okay with them having to shoot a tough three to tie it, where the Blazers aren't going to lose off that, compared to what they did, which has the downside of potentially losing you the game. And honestly, probably should have lost you the game if there was another 1/10 of a second on the clock. So they got to get better, though. I mean,
Did you think it was good in real time?
I thought it was super. I didn't know.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna have our heart broken again.
I thought it was so close that I couldn't tell, so I just waited. But then when he went to the monitor and you saw Blazer fans in the background and the stands like start celebrating, like there's somebody like waving a. They don't give out towels. I don't know. There's like somebody in the background like pumping their fist or something. And I was like, okay, maybe this isn't good, because the fans are in the arena were acting like it isn't good. And obviously,
I thought he clearly got it off in time live, and then as they started to show the replays and people started celebrating, I was like, maybe.
Yeah. Anything else in those final minutes that you want to touch upon there?
Well, just the decision to reverse that call. I mean, he shoves him right in the back. He ends up in the stanchion. After, I don't know how you reverse that call. Like, maybe like you were talking about with the charge call that doesn't get reversed. I don't. Worst case scenario, I think you have to keep it with the call on the court. And man, a few weeks ago, I heard Travis Demers get more upset at a ref call than any play I've ever heard. And tonight was Calabro's turn. Man,
Yeah.
I've never heard that guy lose his cool like that and be disgusted that badly by a call.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I love it. Like, I know they were doing the MVP chants after the game and stuff, but I like when our local announcers get a little homery sometimes, but man, that was good to see, because he's a well-respected national broadcaster prior to becoming the Blazers one, and it's nice to see him get that passionate about a call on the broadcast. It just that was cool to me. But He was absolutely right. Like, I don't know how you reverse that call, man. He shoves him in the back before getting the ball. So I don't know what they were talking about or what they were seeing.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, the camera angles we saw like were the wrong angles too. It's like, did they just see the wrong angles? And that's why they overturned it? It didn't really make sense to me. I also like our local announcers getting a little homer with something like that. Not with the millions of excuses when we lose to the Pelicans by 20 when they're missing half their team. That's when I don't like the homerism, like the excuses.
Yeah.
You guys know that drives me crazy. But awful overturn, like awful calls. Go ahead and get mad because I'm mad too. I can be mad with you. So
But that's why I mean, Mike and Mike weren't great for like basketball analysis or whatever, and they definitely polished turds even more so maybe than Lamar and Kevin do. But man, it really felt like you were watching the game with another fan of the Blazers, and that's why I like those guys so much, is just because they would, like Mike Rice famously got ejected for yelling at a referee when he was a radio announcer. And so, man, yeah, I like that, but I don't understand in that situation how you can just give them the ball and not say there was any contact. And yeah, someone said incidental contact. No, they used the word marginal contact.
yeah,
So yeah, I don't know how that's marginal contact.
yeah, I don't know either.
Especially when if he catches the ball, they're fouling, right? They're not doing it. So I don't know how you overturn that, man.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy. I mean, normally you don't see refs overturn something that's there's clearly contact, clearly a shove in the back. Like, it feels like any other point in the game, if there's contact like that, it's like, oh yeah, he shoved him in the back. We called the correct call. I thought that was ridiculous. Is it possible the last 2-minute report says that they got an overturn wrong? That's probably never happened.
No, it has. It happened earlier in the season. Yeah, I was shocked, but yeah, it did. I think it actually happened twice this season. It might have happened more than that, but I remember twice where it actually happened. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if that happens here because I don't understand that overturn at all. Shout out to Christopher Aquino with a 6-month member message. Says, Tori and Eric believe in the love now. I believed in him in the first half. The second half was kind of rough. He did have 7 boards, which was tied for a team high, and he did have 4 assists, which was a team high by himself. Nobody else had more than 3 assists.
That career high?
I think that might have tied a career high for him. So I like those stuff, and he made some shots in the first half. The second half, he missed everything, which kind of sucked. But the thing is like when he's having this night once in a while compared to 4 out of every 5 games, it's fine. When he's 4 for 12 every night, like he was before this recent 7 or 8 game stretch or whatever he's on, that's where it gets really frustrating because he's not normally a guy that does other things, and when he's not doing other things and he's pretty much just a scorer and he's 4 for 12, like that's just taking up a lot of offensive opportunities to not score that many points because you're missing a lot of those shots. So that was a lot of frustration with him as a player in college and his rookie season so far until this latest 8-game stretch. I hope that this isn't a sign of things to come because he's always been an inconsistent player. So, but he's also, he's gotten high quality shots. It felt like the shot quality there for him in the second half was not as good. Like the Rockets were respecting him as a shooter, where earlier in the season you're coming in, oh yeah, there's this 2-way guy. He shoots 25% from 3. Are you really going to game plan to run him off the line? Probably not.
He took one super terrible 3-point step back with 18 on the shot clock or something like that. Those are the kind of shots he should not be shooting. But other than that, a couple of his shots in the second half were into the shot clock where he had to make something happen when the offense kind of bogged down. And unlike last game, we didn't really do a good job of passing the ball this game. I think we only had 20 or 21 assists. But yeah, definitely a decent game. Christopher might be referring to a Twitter post I had in which I think it was Repair, Love, Sissoko. Well, Chris Murray was included, even though people don't understand that he already has a guaranteed contract. There was one other player I can't remember, but there was 5 Blazers, and it said like if you could only sign one of these for next season, who would it be? And I said I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to choose Love. So yeah, that might be what he's referring to.
I'm there too, just for the hope that his recent play is somewhat sustainable. Because if his recent play is somewhat sustainable, that's better than anything else any of those other guys do. Like, it's not a high bar. I mean, we're talking about guys that if they play 28 minutes will score 5 points and foul 5 times defensively. You know, it's not a high bar. Like, he should be on the main roster over some other guys. Like, obviously, I think us and the organization would rather have him on a main roster spot over Uprise. I think they're just waiting for his 2-way eligibility to run out and the trade deadline to happen. So I think trade deadline, if they make a move, maybe they open up a roster spot just through making a move, and it's easy just to sign Caleb Love that way.
I would be surprised if they opened up two roster slots.
Yeah, and then you just sign Sissoko and Caleb Love, although Sissoko lately has been pretty rough. But
yeah,
Caleb
we'll get
Love,
to that more later.
Yeah, Caleb Love's been good. Today didn't hit shots there in the second half, but just some other things, which is cool.
I know we've talked about the low efficiency, high volume scorers in the past. You famously bring up the why am I blanking on his name? The Summer League dude.
That's Blakeney.
Yeah, Blakeney. But like the games that Love has played well, it's completely changed the like flow of the game and just opened up so many things that the Blazers need. And I realize next year we should have Dame and be healthier, knock on wood. But like, I just think the way Love has impacted some of these games is like different than, making it a defensive stop occasionally or whatever. Because a lot of people are like, "You're crazy. You should have picked Sissoko," and I just feel like those energy guys who can't shoot and can play defense, you can find those guys coming out of college. Like you can find undrafted guys like that. Whereas, I don't know, like Love, who knows if it'll be consistent moving forward. He could always go back to being wildly inconsistent again. But the games he's played well, man, it's just been a game changer for the Blazers to have that extra punch off the bench. And I don't think any of those other guys have provided that spark and can't provide that spark that an offensive player can.
It's needed on this team. I think that archetype, unless they're like truly a star, just doesn't have value across the league. And I kind of heard it explained this way, which I think is a good way to explain it. Like, if you're a ball dominant player where pretty much your only thing is like you take a lot of shots and you score the ball, like if you're not a star caliber guy, like, and you don't really provide much else, the reason why they don't have much value is just because you're taking up a lot of possessions for somebody that's not quite star level, that doesn't really give you value anywhere else. And then that's why you see Colin Sexton get traded with a second-round pick for Yusuf Nurkic. That's why you see Norman Powell, who is probably going to be an all-star this year, get traded for John Collins in a second-round pick or whatever it was. Like, Anthony clearly has basically no trade value, and he's done some good things in Boston this year, but they tried to trade him after getting him for Drew, and they probably still might try and trade him. I mean, we just saw Trae Young get traded for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, so that's kind of funny. Like, the CJ trade, looking back in hindsight, getting back Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and what looked like it was going to be a lottery pick is maybe, I don't know if I've seen a non-star score first guard in that tier get traded for as much as CJ got back in that trade. Now, part of it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker had no value and ended up being really good, and Joe Cronin gave him away for freaking Joe Ingles, so that was a mistake on Joe Cronin's part. But, like, you know, if the hopes, he becomes Colin Sexton, like, I think it's awesome to have on a two-way contract where he's not even taking up a normal roster spot, but he's giving you that level of impact because you need scoring, you need that punch off the bench. But we see guys that are 20-point per game scorers that are efficient in that archetype have like no trade value, which is, I think, a little strange, but also if the Blazers in the future ever need that guy, like this is why Caleb Love needs to become efficient, because if Caleb Love can't become truly efficient and consistently reliable to be an efficient scorer, you can go find somebody that is for next to nothing. So that's why there was a lot of criticism with his efficiency. And on the season, his efficiency still isn't necessarily where you want it to be. He has like a true shooting percentage of 50%. Like for players that played at least 500 minutes, he's in the bottom 10 in efficiency in terms of true shooting percentage. So that's where it's like a tale of two seasons. He was really, really bad before this recent stretch. He's been really, really solid during this recent stretch. So which one is he? He's probably somewhere in the middle, which I don't know what exactly that is, but we're still kind of figuring out what Caleb Love is because he's just always been up and down throughout his career. And that's probably the most likely thing is he'll have stretches like he's had recently where he's super hot and awesome. And then he has stretches where he's basically unplayable because he's so inefficient, doesn't provide much else. If he can do what he's done recently consistently, though, I do really like him on a main roster spot, of course, for the rest of this year, but then also as like a third guard or a third string point guard next year, or a third string combo guard behind the four guards that the Blazers are going to have.
Yeah, and the way it's usually done is when you sign a player rest of the season from a two-way, it's like non-guaranteed the next year, so you can always like cut him in the offseason if you have better options or sign someone or need the roster spot. So I think that's probably what's going to happen, assuming they clear up a roster spot somehow.
Yeah, you have flexibility. Flexibility is always good. So I think that's definitely the most likely outcome. And then shout out to Colonel Pancakes with the $5 donation. Says, Denny top 10. Like I said, it's becoming silly to say otherwise. Do you think he's top 10 this season, Eric?
I mean, I don't know if he's top 10. But I mean, he's for sure top 24 All-Star.
He's for sure top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 10, I don't know.
I mean, right now he's got to be all NBA, right?
Yeah,
Top
with the
15.
amount of games some guys are missing, I think right now, like, I would project him to be at least third team all NBA.
So the only thing you could say is, I guess there's other players with leading their team but have a better record, but most of those teams are probably in a situation where they're like have better supporting cast for that player. I don't know, but
without Denny, we are probably 10 and 28 right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's the only reason this season is not a tanking season at this point.
Yeah, but I do think it's a little different, like how valuable he is just because we're missing so many people versus is he better than like Giannis or Luka? I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just like trying to think of 10 players that
I think some people were comparing him to Markkanen earlier this season. He's so much better than Markkanen, in my opinion. Like, Jalen Johnson has been really good this year. I think you can make a case for Denny that he's having a little bit of a better season than Jalen Johnson. And people that don't know Jalen Johnson might feel like, yeah, of course he's better than Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's been phenomenal this year. Is he just better than, like Devin Booker this season? A guy like that. Is he better than, I don't know, I'm trying to think of names. Like, Is he better than Jalen Brunson this season, who's leading the Knicks to a top 2 seed in the East? Like, that's a conversation. That's a fun conversation to be able to put Denny's name up against those guys' names who have been thought of as bona fide all-stars or even superstar caliber players. So it's fun to insert him in that conversation. You could make a case, I think, that he's having a top 10 season across the league for sure. I don't know if I'd have to look at other seasons guys are having, because I do think it's debatable. That's just my honest opinion. The Denny fans are not going to like that, Eric.
No.
But let's look at the box score here. Let me switch it over to the right box score. There we go.
Rytex wants a poll on whether Denny's top 10 player.
I mean, Rytex, you're going to vote he's top 10. A bunch of other Denny fans are going to vote he's top 10. It's not going to be an unbiased poll, which I wouldn't expect you to be unbiased there. I would expect you to vote him top 10, but I don't know. What's the point? Top 15, not 10? I think he's top 15 this season. I don't think you're going to get any pushback there. He's definitely a top 15 player this season. I mean, where is he in points per game? Let me look at league leaders. I'm curious. Points per game. Where's points per game? He's 13th in points per game.
That's weird, though. I remember when 25 points per game would have gotten you like 5th or 6th.
Yeah. After today, he's probably gonna be closer to 27 points per game. Actually, I don't know. He's played a lot of games, so. But like the guys ahead of him, Cade Cunningham, number 1 team in the East, Laurie, Kawhi. I think he's better than Laurie. Curry, Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown, Nikola Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, SGA, and Luka. Like, maybe you could make a case he's better than Maxey. Maxey's playing an obscene amount of minutes. He's playing like almost 40 minutes a night. So yeah, I don't know. Fun debates though. I think he's been better than Curry this year. Better than Curry, worse than Maxey? I don't know. We've never really had this debate so far, but it's a cool debate. We could take an hour talking about this. We got other things to talk about, but
by the way, we never talked about the last play defensively.
Oh yeah. Oh, how they completely blew a coverage and it didn't matter.
Repair was on Durant. I think he thought they were switching all picks or any kind of action. They were just going to pass off to one another. And
they're like the same size normally you would switch.
Yeah.
But also you gotta know. You gotta have an idea. Before the play, you see them start to set up. Like, you should be able to get on the same page defensively.
But so Repair starts to go with I forgot who it was, but someone went by Durant, and Repair starts to go with him, leaving Durant temporarily wide open.
If Durant just cut to the rim there, he has a dunk.
Yeah.
I don't trust this team to execute in the final 10 seconds of a game, Eric.
The only consolation there is we would have had a timeout with there still would have been like 3 seconds left for us to tie it, unlike it.
Yeah, but we can't get the ball in bounds on a sideline, so that wouldn't have mattered.
That's true.
Like, I don't trust them to execute anything in the last 10 seconds of a game. That's why just let them shoot a tough 3 and hope they miss it is a much better strategy than asking the Blazers to execute multiple things. Like, this team right now, the best chance of winning when they're up 2 to 3 points, I think, is to ask them to execute as few things as possible in the final 10 seconds. The more things they have to execute, from the fouling up 3 to then inbounding on the sideline to then making 2 clutch free throws to then having to defend or foul again, like, I mean, they completely botched that last possession where they left KD wide open, but he wasn't paying any attention, so they got lucky. And Rupert had enough time to recover back to him. He then did play good defense on Kevin Durant on that drive. And Denny helped and got a good contest and forced him into the miss. But then, Shaden doesn't box out Tari Eason. Nobody's at the front of the rim.
Everyone turned around, yeah.
Nobody's at the front of the rim. I don't trust this team to defensive rebound. They give up 24 offensive rebounds in this game. Does that count? Did that count as an offensive rebound?
Well, it's got to because he clearly has it before. Yeah. I think it's got to.
Yeah, I wonder what it says on the play-by-play. But, yeah, just execute as few things as possible because they completely botched that.
Yeah, well, it worked out, I guess. But yeah, you have Tamani and Sissoko both fell out. You have multiple people out of the game, so unfortunately you don't really have the go-to defensive lineup. But I would like to see Klingon in the game there. I don't know. I know he's not good at moving through picks. Maybe have him on the ball. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they put Rawwell in instead of Klingon.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, final defensive possession and you're up 1 and you don't have Klingon in the game. I guess more mobility because they were 5 out is the argument there.
Yeah, but if you have him on the ball or on the inbounder, it probably doesn't come into play.
I think Klingon gets a hand on that ball, on that rebound.
Yeah,
but would the refs have found a way to call foul, a shooting foul on the putback? Who knows? So, just glad it worked out. Glad they get the win here. All right, so here's the box score. KD has 37, 4 boards, no assists. Jimenez 24, Tari 15. Nobody else had more than 8. For the Blazers, 41, 6-2 from Denny Avdia. Let's start there, Eric. I'm going to get your thoughts. But he's shooting from the field. 13 for 24 from the field. 2 for 9 from 3. He had to shoot some tough threes in this game, or maybe there's a couple threes that he shot that were maybe a little tough. I do think he kind of got a little tired there in the second half. There's at least one time that I remember where he settled for a 3 where I think he would have driven in the first half. But you take out the 3-point shooting inside the arc, 11 for 15 inside the arc, and he gets to the line 15 times, makes 13 free throws. So it's a pretty solid free throw shooting night for him. Started 10 for 10 from the free throw line. So knocked down a lot of free throws, and he did have 5 turnovers with only 2 assists, but he scored 41 points. It was 11 for 15 inside the arc and 13 for 15 from the line. You know what I mean? It was weird because he's had such huge assist games, and that just wasn't the case today. He did have a beautiful lob to Klingon in this game. That was a really impressive alley-oop. What were your thoughts on his game today?
Well, the reason why he only had 2 assists was mostly because I felt like he finally had that game where he was like, okay, I need to take this over and just shoot it myself. And he shot great from the field, over 50%. And so I feel like, because I see a lot of people in chat saying only 2 assists, that's not good for him. But I do think he put his head down and got some of those and ones that earlier in the season or even last a few games ago, he's maybe passing out of some of those situations. He's not going hard to the rim every time. And I felt like tonight he just did. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but 3 or 4 more in the course of the second half where he normally pass it, and instead he's getting an and one on 1 or 2 of them. I thought that was pretty much the difference in this game, him being aggressive, and I really, really liked the way he was getting his shots in this game, outside, like you mentioned, of maybe a couple threes he took, but hard to question someone when they score 41 on 24 shots.
Yeah, he's just so sharp. His ball handling has gotten a lot better. I know he had a turnover where he lost the ball trying to go around the back in this game, but just his dribble moves are sharper. they've improved so much, and just the angles that he's able to get. Like, he's not the shiftiest guy, but he handles the ball quick, and he has a quick first step. So a lot of it's just shifting the defender a little bit to go the other way and attack the little bit of gap that's there. It's not even where he has to get his shoulder past a defender. If he can get his shoulder into the outside shoulder of the defender and get that defender to drop their lead foot, then he has him right where he wants him, and he's getting to the rim. Because he does accelerate so fast, he can create that little bit of contact at the point of attack, get that defender to open up, get that defender's lead foot to drop, and then he just accelerates past him. And he's also done a good job of keeping defenders in jail, keeping them on his back, and then like surveying and then attacking downhill. He had some impressive finishes in this one. I talked about the one over KD, but he had like a Euro step in between two defenders at full speed and a little backhand right-handed layup. That was really impressive. That's a move that he likes. And it's just really impressive watching him play right now. And the way he attacks is super fun. And legitimately, you could maybe make the case that he's a top 5 slasher in the league, like a top 5 drive guy in the league. He doesn't score as much from the field as other guys, even though he leads the league in drives per game, but a lot of his drives end up in him getting fouled. A lot of defenses legitimately foul him. Like, people give him a lot of crap because they just look at the free throw attempt number, but I see, certainly he does get the benefit of the doubt here and there every game, but I do think the majority of the times he gets to the line, he's getting legitimately fouled. Or he's, at least it's the way the league is reffed. If a defender is running with you and you go into them and create some contact and they don't let you win that space, they call fouls. Like, that's just the way they call it. But the thing is, a lot of time when he does that, he is scoring. So I don't really blame him. It's a scoring move to drive, create some contact, get a better angle at the rim, etc. So, I mean, there's so many star traits that he possesses right now. And if I'm starting to wonder, like, he's improved every season. If he improves beyond this, what does that even look like? Like, I'm not going to rule out the chance that he becomes a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah. Well, what was impressive for me tonight was they were totally forcing him left, and he was getting into the space to the left and still able to cut it back to the right when he wanted to. And he had some just insane movement off the dribble to where he completely fooled them to thinking he was going one way. And then the one where he switched hands to the left and finished with the left hand at the end, that was sweet play. He just had a bunch of those tonight where he kind of took what the defense gave him initially, but the whole time he was setting them up to get to where he wanted to get to. You're muted.
I'm muted. Correct. The mid-range stuff too, man. What do you think of the midi? Because he wasn't really showing that early in the season. That was, I guess, some people's critique of him was, oh, he doesn't have any mid-range game. Well, that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say if he gets consistent with the mid-range too and can pull up on a dime from like 10 feet or something? Like, I don't know how you stop that guy if he has that too.
Yeah, well, I just said, like, what does it look like if he takes another step? I'm not going to rule him being a top 10 player. That's probably what it looks like is him. Because you look at the way, like, some of these bigger forwards can just get to, like, 10 to 12 feet and just shoot those little jumpers and hit it enough. And, like, KD does that. Kawhi does that. Denny, I think, ultimately will become one of those guys where you have to send multiple defenders to the rim, and he does pass out a lot. But once he gets, I think he's going to get more comfortable with just that little 10-foot shot or creating some contact and spinning back. That he'll start relying on that a bit more, and it'll take his scoring to an even another level. And I think he's been so good lately because he's been doing some of that. Because defenders are ready to help against him. He drives so much, you kind of know that it's coming. So there's a lot of times defenses are there to cut him off from trying to get to the rim, and there's times where he still finishes because he's deading off to you. But like that's the way you beat a defense rotating in on your drive like that, is letting your defender over pursue you, run past you when you stop, turning and hitting that little 10-foot jumper.
Yep. Oh man, he's just been amazing all year. This is game 38. He's played in all of them. I mean, the only part of this game, I mean, obviously the in play with the last second, I was worried that tip-in was good. But other than that, man, the only other point I was like worried greatly in this game was when he went down and stayed down for a while and then kind of limped to the other side. But man, what a warrior, man. He could just got right up and like hustled back and was fine after that. But man, keep thinking, man, that's the only thing that could derail us completely right now is if he wasn't healthy, and thankfully he has been.
Yeah, absolutely. I want your thoughts on Shane Sharp before I say anything. He had 20 points, 3 assists, but was 7 for 17 from the field. He was 3 for 6 from 3, but that means he's 4 for 11 inside the arc. He shoots 3 for 6 from the free throw line. He had 3 turnovers with his 3 assists. Not a single rebound, which he's been rebounding the ball well for a guard. So that's just a statistical aberration, I guess. In 34 minutes, he doesn't get a single rebound. Jeremy Grant would be jealous. What'd you think of his game today?
Well, I did once again feel like he got fouled a couple times on drives and just not get a call, but doesn't matter if he's not making free throws very well either. But man, I feel like there's just, it's going back to a point where there's stretches where he's just non-existent out there, and then when he finally gets the ball, it's like, oh, I have to shoot this shot no matter what. And we've talked about his decision making all season, but man, a couple of those turnaround jumpers he shoots where it's like fading away from just inside the 3-point line with like a defender up on you, those are just terrible shots, man. I thought he had some nice plays in this game too. I mean, obviously he scores 20 points, so you have to have a few good buckets. But man, it just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of his body language, and just he just seems kind of a little out of it lately, even though he's good enough to still score 20 when that happens.
Yeah, I'm just going to be honest. I feel like he didn't really contribute to this win at all. He does put 20 points on the board, and the Blazers maybe would have struggled to replace those 20 points on the 7 for 17 that he shot. But just there's multiple decisions he made in the first half that I don't even remember at this point that irritated me. Which is kind of why I let you start talking about him. A couple of the shot selections, but then just passes he missed. Like Klingon starts 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 from 3, whatever it was. And Shea has him on a pick and pop and draws both defenders. And Klingon has 10 feet of space and he doesn't kick the ball to him. This is where I made the joke last stream. Like, sometimes I wonder if he hates Klingon. Like that's a easy pass, but it's like he would see the pocket pass. He threw a pocket pass in this game. This is another decision. He tried to force a pocket pass today that just like wasn't even close to being there. There was so much traffic, but like that's the pass he wants to throw on a pick and roll or a pick and pop. Like, you can't throw it on a pick and pop because he's not rolling, but like a ball screen, that's the pass that he'll throw. He'll throw the pocket pass. Anything else, like, he doesn't seem to see it. Especially, like, Kling is a legit stretch 5 at this point, and he's popping, and you're shooting a contested midi. Like, find him. That just goes into exactly what I've talked about with, like, him reading the floor. I thought there was multiple times he drove into traffic and forced something that wasn't there in this game. And this game I thought was a perfect example of what I'm talking about when I don't feel like he sees the floor particularly well sometimes. He, of course, had a really good game last game offensively. The game before that, he had 7 assists. So, you know, it's not all bad. But if you look at his last 6 games, he does have 4 where he's been a bit brutal. 9 for 23, 5 for 17, 3 for 16, and then today 7 for 17. And in only 2 of those games, 2 of those 6, did he have more assists and turnovers. So I just think the question's going to be, like, can he be better than that archetype that I was talking about earlier this stream that you can find on the trade market for next to no value, where it's somebody that's, like, solidly efficient but doesn't do a whole lot of anything else, you know, the Norman Powells, Colin Sextons, Anthony Simonses of the world, where they can look really good. Like, he has to become efficient, I think, to be better than that tier of players, or he has to become a bit better playmaker. Or the Blazers have, I think part of it would be he's a more unique off-ball threat than any of those guys. And the Blazers, if they tapped into that to open up some of the offense, that's where he could provide more value offensively. But, like, he's 22, so he has plenty of time. But I don't want it to be like this where on the season it's, 55 true shooting percentage and he's averaging more turnovers than assists and he's giving you 20 points per game. But it's like, okay, people that aren't Blazer fans view him as, like, Benedict Mathurin, who doesn't seem to have much value right now, like, who Pacers don't seem to really want him. Jalen Green, like, they view him as that type of player right now. So I think just some of the decision making, I thought he forced some stuff today and missed some easy passes that would have resulted in him having a better game. And sometimes he tries to do the hard play. He tries to take the tough shot instead of making the easy pass. And it's stuff that we've talked about all season long, but that's just where it gets a little bit frustrating in a game like this. I'm not blaming him for not passing to young Hansen on a pick and pop. But Donovan Clingan, with the way he's been shooting the ball, that's where it's like, dude, just he's wide open. Just make the easy pass. Let him shoot another 3. Don't take a contested mid-range instead.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I don't necessarily agree that the things you say translate to not helping a team win at all. I mean, obviously.
Well, he does help the team win a lot of nights. I think tonight, I don't know if he had a particularly positive impact on this game. I think, like, Norman Powell helps the Heat win a lot of games, but he doesn't have much trade value. He got traded for John Collins, who's been awful this year, in a second-round pick,
Yeah, but a lot of these trades are cap-based too, moves and things like that. But I don't know. I don't necessarily equate trade value to if a player's helping a team win or not, though. I think those are 2 different conversations.
Yeah, I just said it's 2 different conversations. But I think, like, kind of my bigger point is if you ever need that player, you can go find them. So if Sharp has all, I don't know. I don't want to trade Sharp because I do believe he has a lot of upside, but if he's not going to reach that upside, then I guess you could make the argument that if there's still a team that believes he has a ton of upside, then maybe you can get more back now and then replace that void in the future. If you were playing the long game, which the Blazers at this point aren't in a long-term rebuild anymore. So I wouldn't do it. I don't want people to get confused with that. But I would like to see him, like, not be included in Jalen Green, Cam Thomas conversations, which I've heard lately.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, just decision making. Just decision making. The body language stuff, do you feel like that's more, do you feel like it's different than normal cuz he's always super reserved? Like have you noticed a difference from what you normally see out of him? And like if so, what
No,
specifically is different?
not necessarily different. It's just like some games he lets his like kind of, I don't know, casualness like play out more than others. Like some games it feels like he's a little more locked in and just a little more confident and I don't know. Some of his fadeaway shots, it's almost like he's being forced to shoot them. It's kind of like the Jeremy Grant thing. But like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but he's looked a little out of it these last couple games. Just like I don't know, like just not completely um like I said, cocky isn't the right word either, but like I don't know. There's some games where it seems like he has that mindset. I'm going to take over. I can get to the rim on these guys, and there's other games where it's like he has a little bit of trepidation when he drives and stuff. He's still getting to the rim. He's just having a tough time finishing lately.
Yeah, and obviously we're holding him to a high bar here. If Chris Murray had the game that Sharp had tonight, we'd be like, oh my goodness, Chris Murray scored 20 points. I don't even care that he was 7 for 17. He actually scored 20 points in a game. So obviously, like the standard here is a bit different. But yeah, just I would like to see the decision making be more consistently good.
I do think part of the body language thing is it is getting to him that he cannot get a freaking call sometimes.
Yeah.
And he got hacked a couple times once again, and I saw him like several times talking to the refs tonight, like what do I have to do to get that call on the other end type of conversations. And so I think that's maybe affecting him a little bit is like he's kind of letting that seep into his mind. Like, man, I keep making these good drives. I'm getting hacked and I'm not getting a call. Like, and I think that, even if it's just like a fraction of a difference when you drive, thinking you're not going to get a call might result in you not going quite as aggressive as you should or not. But like overall, I'm not like concerned about it or anything.
Do you think there's anything he could be doing to get these calls more?
Flailing his arms, I think it would help a little bit. He does a lot of the times there's contact. He just kind of like it's similar to when Denny doesn't get calls. He just kind of falls to the floor, and it's not like an exaggerated one at all. But it never looks like he's getting hit. It's looking like he's running into a wall almost instead of like getting fouled. And so I think maybe he's got to like. Well, one, he should do the Brandon Royale, and then two, if you think there's contact on the ball, like just flail your arms like you got whacked across them, and I think that helps a little better. But Eric Olson's also right in chat, like he does. I think just being stronger to where you're not losing the ball all the time or losing your balance, and a lot of these calls would automatically go for you because then it's more obvious that the player, when they foul you, did knock you off balance. But he's so often like sliding or like not moving right towards the basket. Like he's still good at jumping out of those and finishing, but like there's so many times he's kind of off balance and not strong that when he gets bumped, it's of course he's going to fall over. Whereas if he was a little stronger, had a little bit better base, either A, it wouldn't affect those shots as much and he might be able to finish anyway, or B, the contact would just look or have to be much greater for him to get knocked over and he might start getting those calls. But yeah, I don't know, man. he's got to change it up somehow to get those calls because he's just. I've never seen a guy attack the rim so relentlessly and not get the foul treatment that a lot of players do when they do that.
Yeah. All right, so Tabani today, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, only 1 turnover for him, which is nice to see. He ends up shooting. Let me pull box score back up here. He goes 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, 3 for 3 inside the arc with only 1 turnover, and gets the line once, makes both free throws. Had 2 steals, 2 blocks. Drew multiple offensive fouls. Nice to see him actually making some defensive plays. And he was a team high plus 10 in 39 minutes. What did you think of his game today?
Yeah, other than, getting 6 fouls once again, and it just seems like he's in foul trouble all the freaking time lately. Other than that, I thought he was pretty good this game. I don't know if I like that pull-up 3 he had that wasn't even close to going in. But I don't know. Overall, I thought he played a pretty solid game and definitely had an impact on this one. But we need him to stay on the court once again, and could have used him there at the end for some of those defensive possessions. And it sucks when he's fouling out and can't stay in the game.
We would have had him in the end at the end of those games if he didn't get called for not touching somebody. So
right,
I kind of give him a pass, and then he tries to take a charge in the final minutes. Like even with 5 fouls, I understand trying to take that charge, and it was a bang play. So picking up those fouls for your 5th and 6th foul kind of sucks. So I don't remember the first 4. None of them stood out to me. So they were probably actually fouls because I didn't complain about them. Maybe I did. Maybe I complained so much I forget. I don't know. But solid game from him. Do you think this was a really good defensive game from him outside of the fouling? Did this feel a little different to you, or?
I mean, obviously Durant went off, so it's hard to say it was like a really good game. But overall, he didn't really piss me off on defense. I think it was fine. It was adequate. I still don't know if it's up to the standard of last year, but it is definitely better than some of his stinkers on defense this year.
Yeah, for sure. Klingon 12 points.
Real quick before you move on, Alvaro donated a membership and went to Array Petro.
Shout out to Array. I feel like this isn't Array's first time winning a membership. And shout out to Alvaro. Thanks for gifting the membership, Alvaro. Always good to see you. And always good to not see Eric after he gets collab cammed. All right, you're back.
All right, now we can talk about Klingon.
Yeah. I love making the collab cam jokes when you get collab cammed. I enjoy it. It's now just like a part of the show. All right, Klingon, 12 points, 7 boards, 3 assists for the big man. He has 5 for 9 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. A couple of those were grenades. He started 2 for 4. And the second one was like hand in his face, time running down, and he shot it quick. Kind of was almost a one-motion shot. And
I had one of those from the corner and it made it.
Yeah. He's a legit shooter. He's like almost 34% from 3, and this was how bad he was to start the year. I'm just wondering, is this dude really a 38% 3-point shooter? Because the last month or so, he's been shooting well above that, and obviously that's just a hot streak, but he's improving from 3. It's pretty clear he's improving from 3, and he's at 34%, and he's improving as the season has gone on. So I'm just wondering, I think there's a realistic chance that he's 36-37% at the end of the year. Because the shot to me looks real. The way he's shooting it confidently, the form looks good, the release looks good. Obviously he's not going to shoot 50% from 3 on the season or whatever he shot the last 11 games or so, but I'm starting to look at him as like he's a good shooting big, which is really awesome because at the start of the season, it's like, all right, can he show us anything here? Or is this just going to be another year where he's shooting threes to try and develop his 3-point shot while he shoots 25% or 28% from three? So it's crazy how much the conversation has shifted in the past month in regards to his shot, but his shot's been phenomenal. Like, that's my biggest takeaway from this game. He had 3 assists, a couple nice passes in this one, didn't turn over the ball. Also had a blocked shot in this game, which was cool. What'd you think of him tonight?
Yeah, and plays over 30 minutes. Once again, he's doing a really good job of staying on the court too. Most games. Man, just what a crazy world we live in, Tori, where Stephen Adams had to literally chase him off the 3-point line. Like they had to completely change their defense in this game to account for Klingon out there. And that's going to really, if the Blazers are smart schematically, that's going to really open up the court, especially when we get guys back. But man, yeah, I don't know how consistent he can be moving forward, but right now the dude's shooting him like he's a shooter and he believes he's a shooter. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between him and, say, like when Nurkic had like a stretch, is like almost like Nurkic was shooting him because he had to, and Klingon felt like that way too in the beginning, especially earlier this year too and all last year. But lately it just, I don't know, man, something, he's always had a bit of like a little edge to his game, but over the past few weeks, man, he's just transformed into like being super vocal on the court. And I think part of that is he's just very confident when he shoots them that they're going in, and that is a huge win. And just in terms of the battle of making threes, I think is just when you're open and you're shooting them, it's not like, okay, I've already shot one, should I shoot this second one? I'm a center, I don't know if I should be shooting this shot. It's not like that anymore. It's like, oh man, they're gonna leave me open, cash money. Like,
it's like, please give me a little bit of space.
Yeah, right. And he doesn't even, like, a couple of those, he didn't even need space. Like, he's setting up. But that's when you're super confident and have it locked in. And so yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that it could be an upper 30% shooter for the course of a season. And I mean, obviously, if this continues, even if it's less than the rate he's been at lately, it's going to go up to that point this season, which is crazy considering the start he got.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I'm loving watching him play right now. I just had this thought. Well, I guess we'll talk about the injuries at the end of this real quick, but with how well this team's been playing lately, do we want guys to come back? Like with Jeremy Grant coming back and mess all this up, I don't know. It's just a random thought I had. Now it's like, no, those guys come back and, we don't have enough injuries. That's why they're struggling. Stop criticizing them, Tori. They don't have the injuries they had when they were playing well.
Someone, I think it was Elizabeth Hayden, said earlier, we should activate Dame just to throw those inbound passes at the end of games, just to have him. He would have to run it all, just throw the inbound pass. Or, like, you wouldn't have to play him at all, but like have him get the ball and shoot the free throws at the end, Like, he could do that.
I don't want him running on an NBA floor right now.
He would have to run. He'd just have to get one screen and come to the ball and get it and get fouled.
Yeah. That's a funny joke. That's a funny joke. Yeah. But no, it needs to be the NBA. I'll say this: the NBA better give Portland a home game for their first regular season of the game next year. They are stupid if they don't.
Yeah.
His next time on the floor better be in Moda Center opening night next season, because that is going to be quite the atmosphere, and I will be a part of that atmosphere. Yeah, that's how it has to happen. But it probably would be a good thing to have him throwing the inbounds passes. Like, I would trust him if he was still on crutches throwing the inbounds passes right now. But also, who does he have to throw to? Like, nobody's open. Like, that's the thing with a lot of these inbound sets. Is like, there's no window to inbound at all. So, anyway.
I almost wish they'd just clear out the floor and post up Denny and just throw it down to him.
Well, they don't have enough shooting for that normally. Although they have been shooting the 3-ball better, so maybe.
What do you mean?
Like posting up. Oh, you mean on the inbounds? I thought
On the inbound pass, yeah. Send everyone going the opposite way.
Well, they did do that against Sacramento.
They did,
and
they did that with
turned it over.
Yeah, well, they did that with the Jeremy play. It worked, but like, yeah, I don't know, man. Especially who's got a smaller guy on him, just post him up.
They just need to redraw whatever they're doing. Like, that's just where they're at right now. All right, City Sissoko. I'm not going to read off his stats because there's basically none of them. What'd you think?
I thought he was pretty brutal tonight. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of this game from City.
The fouls, man. The freaking fouls. How many fouls did he have? Let me check.
He fouled out in 16 minutes.
I'm not surprised. The fouls are ridiculous.
What did you say? We had 21 team fouls?
Yeah. Tamani and City had more than half of them.
Had 12, yeah.
12 of 21. Not good. I'm getting tired of his fouls. For real.
But at least Tamani played 39 minutes. This dude started and only got 16 minutes.
Yeah. He's reckless defensively. It's not even a place that I can complain about. Like, he goes in there and he hacks people.
Well, he was complaining about him every time, too. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're hacking people. He
has no idea how physical he's being.
Yeah.
Which is a problem for him. He has to learn, I guess. But it was a rough game from him. It seems like once a game, too, he thinks he's Shaden Sharp athletically, and he's not, and he gets stuffed on a dunk attempt at the rim. Which, listen, I respect the ambition and the confidence that he drives with, and I like that he tries to take it strong. But sometimes, like, dude, just lay it up high off the glass instead of trying to pack on big men that you have seen that you can't dunk on.
Well, he has had some passing flashes, but lately when he's doing that too, there's a guy wide open on the other side that he can just dump it off to. It'd be an easy dunk, but he's trying to, like you said, be Shaden Sharp or something. But man,
he likes the flashy play, Eric.
Yeah,
he likes the flashy play.
He had 2 airball threes today.
I shouldn't. Why did I say that yesterday, man? Or not yesterday,
dude.
Last game.
This is all Tori's fault. 100% on you, man.
Hey, they still won, so I'm going to keep doing it, I guess.
I guess.
All right, Caleb Love conversation. I mean, we kind of had one earlier.
Yeah, we don't. We just made this brief. He had some really good moments. I think he had 8 points in the first half. Had at least one really good pass in this game. I like the rebounding from the guard spot. He kind of took all of Sharp's rebounds today. But, yeah, I thought it was an okay game. I mean, obviously, he didn't do a whole lot in the second half, but I thought once again he was a positive impact player. And he was in there the last couple of plays through defensive possessions. He's in our defensive lineup there at the end. I don't know if he would have been if we got Sharp and Sissoko, or Kamara and Sissoko too, but he's been fine on the defensive end. He hasn't been doing it. It was a little bit like we were talking about with Sissoko when he first got in there, where he's a little over aggressive, and it led to some fouls. But I think he's been really solid on that end. Yeah.
I just like the doing some other things in some games. And today, despite going the 4 for 12, he does some other things. So you can kind of see other areas of his game growing a little bit. You can tell that things are starting to slow down for him a little bit. Sometimes his confidence will get him into trouble or get him taking a questionable shot, but that's probably always going to be the case as long as he remains somewhat consistently efficient. It's completely fine. Rob Will, 3 points, 4 boards, 2 assists in 18 minutes. Not an impressive stat line, but he was okay,
Yeah.
I guess.
Didn't really screw up, but didn't really do a whole lot either outside of that lob.
Yep. Young, 17 minutes today, and he was a +2. Like, the Blazers survived the Young minutes that they had to play tonight, and they played him legitimate minutes. He had 5 fouls. So you look at the fouls, 21 fouls, but 17 of the 21 were from 3 guys, Kamara, Sissoko, and Young. There's multiple things to talk about from this game for him. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is why do referees hate him, Eric?
I don't know. The one where he was like shocked, I thought he fouled Adams first because you can't box out with your the front of your body turned towards someone. So that's an automatic foul before all the other stuff happened. There was one where he kind of went straight up, but he was not straight up in the air. He was moving side to side, and his body hit him. But yeah, he's still getting a tough whistle. But I do think he is kind of just like a step too slow on some of those, and it's causing some of the fouls. I think he can clean that up a little bit.
If my guy Chet goes up the way that he contested vertically at the rim, he doesn't get called for a foul.
I don't think it was vertical though, but like I see your point.
He put his arms up and he like turned a little bit, and I guess it was the turn more than anything. But like, dude, there's like barely any contact. I don't think he moved hardly at all side to side. Like, dude, sometimes I think like it's impossible for rim protectors to defend, because if they weren't even playing basketball and you asked them to jump up straight in the air and land exactly where they jumped from, they wouldn't be able to be straight up enough for an NBA ref's liking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there has to be just a little bit of leeway. And there's instances where it works in Denny's advantage, and when it works in his advantage, I'll just say, like, that's the way they call it, and he's taking advantage of the way they call it. Like, he's still driving to score, that's why I hate the whole foul baiting. It's not like he's wrapping somebody's arm and then flailing his arms like prime James Harden. So it's funny to me to hear Rockets fans complain about foul baiting. Like, you had James Harden in his prime foul baiting James Harden. Like, you drive at a guy and the league makes it impossible to defend the rim without fouling. Who are you going to blame, the player or the freaking league and the refs and the way it's reffed? I'm going to blame the latter.
Speaking of the refs, chat saying that Tari Eason after the game blamed their loss on the refs and the way they give Denny calls. He was asked about Denny, and he said something about zebras.
All right, bro. Y'all shot more free throws. Enjoy the fine. Well, maybe he said zebras so he wouldn't get fined, but like, y'all shot more free throws. The calls in the fourth were in the Rockets' favor. The and ones Denny got down the stretch were all fouls.
Yeah.
I get it. You're frustrated because you can't defend him you can't stop him and defend him without fouling more often than not, but so I get the frustration, but I mean, you didn't lose the game because of refs. You shot more free throws. You also got the benefit of the whistle in numerous situations. You got the benefit of a bogus overturn as well. So I get the frustration, though.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But what'd you think of the rest of Young's game today?
I thought it was okay. I mean, it was fine. Um,
That's it.
he also had a grenade 3.
Yeah. We love
um,
giving our bigs grenade threes.
the missed dunk. I mean, it was a good, strong move. I think he was kind of surprised he was that open. Tried to dunk it from a little farther out than he probably would have liked to if he would have realized a second sooner that he was that open. But at least he was like playable in this game. I still don't understand how the Blazers can't get a rebound with him and Rob Will in the game at the same time, but I guess that's a team issue, not just on Young.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this game, I mean, I was fine with the minutes he got because he wasn't like doing anything super mess uppy.
Yeah. That pass and transition to Sharp was one of those plays where I'm like, I saw the turnover come. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be a bad turnover. Like, saw it coming, and then he turned it into a pass draw. I was, oh, he saw it too. He saw it too. So that was a cool play. But then he had like a very similar play where he literally just threw it to Reed Shepard, and I had the same feeling like, oh no, this is gonna be a turnover, and he literally threw it straight to Reed Shepard in transition. So. I don't really like him bringing the ball up.
No.
But oh yeah, and the other thing, Tamani's tooth is gonna go in the box tonight.
Yeah, nice.
That's funny. I like it. What else can you put in the box in terms of players getting hurt? I don't know. Somebody
Hopefully no one else
put
loses
the bloody towel into the box, like
gross. Yeah.
Blood, sweat, and tears, and lost teeth, and toothless Tamani. Yeah.
Hansen got cut up too. He looked like he got mauled by a bear. He kind of did, but.
And did he get a foul called for him on that play? Probably not. I'm just gonna assume he didn't, because I don't know which play it was. The free hit was cool, but yeah.
I lost like 2/3 of a tooth playing basketball once.
Nice.
I dove for a ball and someone like dove too, and like his knee hit the back of my head right into the floor, and it like broke my tooth in half, almost. Yeah.
That sounds painful. Ugh.
It didn't hurt
imagining
at all. No, because like it broke like halfway down the tooth, or there's no feeling in there, so it just like
yeah.
It just looks stupid.
Like,
yeah.
Into the floor, like teeth first.
Yeah.
Not a good thought. And then Ryan Repair played 18 minutes, 0 for 2 from the field, had 3 boards, 1 assist. He was a +5.
Either of his shots.
Oh, I remember one of his shots. You remember when he was like, took the ball coast to coast and attacked Reed Shepard, and Lamar Hurd was like, Repair sees food? And then he missed it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that one.
That was funny as hell. That's why I like Lamar. He says some funny stuff, man. That was so funny to me. Just because he missed it, too. Like,
yeah.
It's the guy that's never confident in anything. He just decides to go coast to coast one-on-one, and he's like, what? He sees food? Miss. I don't know. That's funny. I mean, he played good defense on Kevin Durant once he got on Kevin Durant on the final possession.
Yeah.
He slid with him and didn't foul and forced him into a tough mid-range. Going right.
But Durant did separate a little bit. If Denny didn't come over, it would have.
But of course he's going to separate. He's Kevin Durant.
I know.
Like, he's 7 feet tall and Ryan Repair's 6'6". Like, I thought you got to live with that, I think.
I thought overall, including that last play, there was a couple times in the zone he got kind of turned around or mixed up to what he was supposed to do. But overall, I thought he had some pretty good moments on defense in this game. And once again, just don't have any super mess ups when you're out there, like I was talking about with Young. And felt like he did that. Almost had the biggest mess up that you could possibly make there at the end, but luckily he figured it out before it was too late.
Yeah. And that last defensive play, that mess up was on him because if you switch, you got to communicate it. And
Yeah.
he clearly did not communicate that to Sharp because Sharp was looking at him like, put his hands up, like, what are you doing?
It goes back to me to we talked about this a lot early on when like CJ used to automatically switch screens when the screen wouldn't even get to him. It would like someone would do a ghost screen or a fake screen and be like 3 steps away from him, and CJ's already switching before fighting through or whatever. So like there was no need to have to switch there. Like I understand if you were told to switch all picks there, but it wasn't even really a screen. Like I don't know, like you should have just been glued to KD there. And we don't want a smaller player switching onto him either. So I don't understand not fighting through and just staying on him at all costs right there. But man, can you imagine if we lost this game because we just completely left Durant wide open on that last play and he just got an easy basket?
After all the things that led up to that too, I would have been so freaking pissed.
Dude, that would have been such a brutal way to lose. Like, that would have been way more brutal than that tip-in going in. Just they forget to guard the best player on the court or their best player at the very end.
Would
like blown coverage in the football
would that
game.
have been more brutal than the Vucevic 3? Because the Vucevic 3 being up 2 and giving that up was...
Yeah, and it was like if you just stay home, if you're Tamani, you don't leave him, you win that game. So, I mean, that was pretty brutal too, but at least it wouldn't have been just someone forgetting to guard Durant in the last play. I mean, how could you lose a game like that? Like one of the best players of all time, and you just don't guard him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the Blazers. That'd be the Blazers being blazery.
Thank goodness he figured that out, man, because that would have been, man, I don't know how you recover from that. Like, we might have had to cut him if.
Caleb Love, you finally won a roster spot.
I am being totally serious. Like, I don't know if you could ever recover from just like standing there while Kevin Durant gets wide open on it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still don't think that's a worse mistake than Tamani on that possession, though.
Yeah, maybe not. Just
possession.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Tamani's Tamani. He's not a Ryan Rupert. But, yeah, I mean, he ate up minutes today. That's kind of the thing is, like, Rupert's job, Young Hanson's job when they play is to go in, don't screw anything up.
Like a relief pitcher, yeah.
Yeah, like, don't screw up too much. Like, Young's probably going to have a turnover or two and have a couple rough defensive possessions. But I also thought, like, defensively, Young wasn't horrible when he was in, which is a step in the right direction. Like, there's a couple times where he had bad possessions, but the play where I think he got called for a foul, but like he was on a quicker perimeter player and he moved with him, and the perimeter player like went into his body and got a foul called in his favor. But like I was just happy that he moved with a perimeter player on a drive. Do you know what play I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just happy that he was actually sliding his feet and not getting beat off the dribble. Like the bar is super low, unfortunately, right now for him defensively. But you gotta start somewhere. So like he didn't get picked on in this game, which was good. He does seem to like. This was the first game where I felt like his head wasn't completely spinning defensively.
Yeah. I don't know. I've felt that way a few times, but yeah, he's still learning. Obviously, he still has a long way to go.
Yeah. Okay, let me see if the standings have updated. They have. Look at that, beautiful. All right, so Portland right now, Ninth seed in the West. They actually gained some separation from 10th because Memphis lost today. So Portland now a game and a half up on 10th and 3.5 games up on 11th, which is Dallas. Dallas, there's so many games today. Did they win today? Did they play today? Are they like one of the 4 teams that didn't play? Yeah, I guess they didn't play today. The Clippers lost today at New York, 123-111. So the Blazers gained a game on the Clippers. The Blazers gained a game on the Grizzlies. Unfortunately, the Suns were the team that beat the Grizzlies. So Blazers still 4.5 back of them. It's frustrating that the Portland Trailblazers can't really gain on them. Like Phoenix is closer to that upper tier of teams right now. They've had a really easy schedule and they haven't dealt with rough injuries or anything. Like they've had Booker the entire season. They've been one of the healthier teams outside of the Jalen Green injury. So the hope is that the tough schedule, they'll lose some games and Portland can maybe make up ground there. I mean, they made up ground last year against the Suns, of course, as a completely different team. I just like... With the stretch that they're on, I'm looking at like the 6th seed. Is there any chance that Portland can play their way up to 6?
Well, we beat Houston on Friday and we're
5 games back and have the inside line to the tiebreaker. Like, you get some guys back, you get healthier, you're playing good basketball as is. Maybe you are sneaky buyers at the deadline. I don't know. There's like good. Well, I was just going to say there's probably a less than 1% chance that they're able to get the 6th seed.
Yeah.
But,
and you just jinx them. Now they're going to be like 18-30 in a couple of weeks.
No, I just said there's less than 1% chance, so now it might happen. Also, listen, if something good happens that I said was going to happen, I spoke it into existence. If something good happens when I said something bad was going to happen, then I jinxed it. Either way, I get the credit. That's my rules.
Discredit, yeah. But no, I just want them to be like if they finish the season a little above 500, I think that's a win, and you just fall where it may.
I want to have a playoff series where we have some hope.
Yeah, I mean, they could have that with the 8th seed.
Could they?
Just better win one game.
Like we did in the bubble against the Lakers and then lose 4 straight?
I mean, if you're the 8th seed heading into the play-in, you just have to win one game to be the 7th.
No, yeah, I'm saying I want some hope in a playoff series. I don't have hope going up against OKC.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we'd have hope going into the play-in if we're the 8th seed that we could be the 7th seed. All we'd have to do it. Okay. Like, let's say we flipped with Golden State right now. Yeah. All we'd have to do is beat Phoenix in Phoenix one game to achieve that. So it's definitely possible. I'm not saying we will or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, like that's the realistic goal right now is 8 seed. I mean, the only difference between 7 and 8 is 7 seed hosts that game, so that game would be at home instead of on the road. But the Blazers this year, their home and road splits are pretty even. They're 9-9 at home. They're 9-11 on the road. So I think the 8 seed is much more attainable at this point. You're just kind of hoping Phoenix falls off. Mm-hmm. Denver, with all their injuries, doesn't look like they're going to be a team that is going to fall off because all of a sudden, like Peyton Watson is. Did you see Peyton Watson today? 30 points, was 6 for 7 from 3, and he had a big game recently too. Like that's a guy just stepping up.
I saw him on the, when they post the like best corner 3-point shooters in the NBA. He's shooting like 50% from the corners or something. And I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a great role player because really good defensive guy and then able to knock down the corner. That's the thing with the Blazers. Like Tamani, not a good corner shooter this year. Chris, obviously not a good corner shooter. You make yourself hard to guard when you have a corner shooter because, like, you can't help off a corner shooter if a player drives that way, right? Like, so you have to help from the baseline, and then that causes the whole weak side to rotate if you have shooters, and then that's where, like, the cuts in those situations can come alive. unfortunately, like when you have Chris Murray in the corner, you can help off the strong side corner. You don't need to worry about rotations. Like, all right, you kick to Chris Murray and he's a 25% 3-point shooter. Like, yeah, I'll help from the strong side corner onto a Denny Avdia drive. That's where just the Blazers need better corner 3-point shooting. Tamani was 35% from three going into this game on the year, which is fine, but he's like 25% from the corners and probably around at least 40% from three outside of the corners. They need some corner 3-point shooting. But yeah, these are the Western Conference standings. Any other thoughts on any other of the teams here? You got the Grizzlies, Mavs, Clippers right behind the Blazers. The Jazz are starting to fall off.
No, just got to keep pace ahead of those teams, and then, like you said, hope someone falls off. But having that tiebreaker over the Warriors is huge. So as long as we're within striking distance of them, I think we're in a good position. And then, who knows? 2 through 6, man. Who knows how that's gonna shake out? Kind of reminds me of like 2018 and 2019, where we had like 2 straight seasons where we were the 3 seed, but we're only separated from like 8th by a couple games, you know?
Yeah.
Or I guess last year the West was like that too, right? Like
the West, oftentimes it feels like is definitely like that. Unfortunately, just the West being stronger. Although the East this year is a little better, it seems like, in terms of having above 500 teams. We'll take a look at the East in a second. I think in terms of buyers, like I don't view OKC as a buyer just because they're already so good. I don't even view San Antonio as much of a buyer. They've been, we're talking trade deadline here. They've generally been a bit conservative at trade deadlines in years past, outside of the Fox trade, and with how well they're playing right now with some of the injuries they've dealt with, I could see them just thinking like, oh, we have as good of a chance as anybody to win a championship. Look how well we play the Thunder. We don't need to give up young players or assets for anything. I think maybe they'd be like an opportunistic buyer if something makes sense, but I don't think they'll be as aggressive as like maybe the Timberwolves. Even the Rockets I could see making another move for a point guard. I've actually wondered, like, CJ in Houston is their point guard. Like, does that make some sense? Gives them some shooting. They kind of need a little bit of shooting. We saw that tonight. But Denver, I mean, they're just kind of capped out. So it's not easy for them to make a move. Their move was trading Michael Porter Jr. in a first-round pick for Cam Johnson, and right now they regret that. Lakers, I mean, all the talk is like they're looking at this offseason potentially having max cap space and letting LeBron walk.
Did you see Bobby Marks' comments on that today?
No, I didn't.
He said that in today's CBA, that's like the dumbest strategy you can have, and that you need to go for it via trades, not relying on cap space to get that money or to use that money.
I don't really understand the logic.
He just said like there aren't many examples of a team just flat out using cap space and signing a player that is better than a player they could trade for using the assets they have.
Well, I don't think it'd necessarily be signing players that are individually better. I think it would be signing pieces that fit better around Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic.
Yeah, but what he's saying is why not just trade for that player now instead of waiting to hopefully sign them?
Because you'd have to give up assets for that guy that they wouldn't have. So unless you're trading LeBron now and getting assets to go then trade for those players.
But his point is it rarely works out to where you sign that player anyway. Most of the Lakers,
but it's the Lakers.
Have been via trade, like, but it's mostly because they get a lucky trade, like a Luka. It's not because they signed Luka, you know.
Yeah, but I think to compare it to a signing, like you look at the way the Thunder signed Hartenstein. Is it Stein or Steen? I always mix it up. But like, that's the.
But
like he's not going to be available, but that's like the type of player for them to go after, good defensive role-playing guys. And there's going to be a few on the market. Like I could see them being a team that signs Robert Williams III, for example. You know, they could trade for him at the deadline maybe, but Portland could also be like, no, we want him because we don't have an alternative backup center option and we're winning basketball games and are going to be in the play-in. So, like, we want a first-round pick for them. If you're the Lakers, it makes more sense to just let him hit free agency and then convince him to sign there.
Yeah, but he's saying that, like, those kind of free agent signings aren't necessarily better than trading for another star or something with the assets you have.
Yeah, I just don't think they have assets to trade for another star unless they trade Reeves.
I mean, they do have unprotected pick they could trade.
They have one unprotected pick and LeBron's massive contract that would be almost impossible for many teams to match. I don't see like what star they'd be able to turn that into. So I don't really see like the pathway to them getting good defensive role players. Like I think could Lou Dort be a free agent this offseason? Like that's the type of guy that would make a lot of sense there. And with the Thunder, with their payroll, maybe you slightly overpay, but they could have an obscene amount of cap space because you got Austin Reeves' cap hold, which is not the biggest cap hold, and then you got Luka's contract and Vanderbilt's contract, and the rest are pretty much expiring contracts or very, very cheap. So I think that's the thought with the Lakers. I don't really expect them to do a whole lot at the deadline. I think something that's interesting to me would be like a Rui for Quentin Grimes trade. If Quentin Grimes is going to be a free agent, that's also another guy that they could go after because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. But I feel like the Sixers have always struggled at the 4. And like Paul George is playing the 4 right now for them most nights, but I think they could use a little bit more forward depth, and they have McKay, Edgecombe, Maxey at guard spots. Grimes is kind of an undersized 3. Maybe that's the type of move for both teams that could make some sense because I think Grimes would be a perfect fit in LA. But that's the you know, if you can't get him, if you're LA, I think that's a guy that they could have a good chance at signing in the offseason.
Yeah, there was some Bobby Portis rumors too today.
Yeah. If you like traded that future first with Vanderbilt's contract, so you still kept your flexibility and you had some protections on that first, it's like an overpay for Bobby Portis. But if you can get another cheap role player that makes sense in that trade, I don't really know who that'd be on the Bucks because a lot of the role players kind of suck. Then that would be somewhat interesting, I guess. Okay, let's talk about the trade that did happen today. So,
yes.
We talked last stream about, would the Hawks have to give up second-round picks to get off Trae Young's contract? Nope, they just took on Kispert, who's like kind of questionable contract, and CJ McCollum's expiring contract. They're basically just getting off of Trae Young's contract, and Trae Young does indeed go to the Wizards. What'd you think of this trade for both teams, if you had to grade it?
I think it's like a C minus D plus for both teams. I don't understand it for either team really. Like I get the cap implications, but assuming Trae Young opts into his $45 million contract or whatever it is next season, the Wizards were set up to have major cap space, and the thing about them is they're not, unlike the Lakers, they're not going to sign like a big free agent, but they have done a good job of taking on contracts and salary when they've had cap space for picks and things like that. I mean, I guess I do kind of get it just from Trae Young was a lot, I don't know, cooler to have, I guess, than CJ, just in terms of fans and all that kind of stuff. And CJ is definitely gone at the end of this season. But it's just kind of a weird trade for both teams. Like, can you imagine if Portland had like a 4-time All-Star and we just like traded him for that package.
Yeah.
We just like waited way too long to trade him or something. Because man, it feels like a couple years ago they could have gotten like multiple first round picks from a team for Trae Young.
Yeah, his value definitely cratered. I kind of think part of me wonders, were they worried about the salary floor? Because they would have had
Maybe
an obscene amount of cap space that maybe they wouldn't have been able to reach the salary floor. I mean, you can always overpay a role player on a max contract for a year if you really want to reach that floor. But it's they still have a lot of cap space, so they still have enough flexibility this offseason, or they should have enough flexibility. I'm looking at the payroll table right now. And obviously they're not going to sign a guy, so it's just opportunistic salary dumping trades where you can get an asset for, like, you know, the Lakers will say they want to dump Jared Vanderbilt to open up even more cap space this offseason. Let's say LeBron's willing to go to Cleveland on a MLE and they need to shed salary to open up the full mid-level exception, you know? Like, that's the type of stuff.
I will say I'm a little surprised that a team. We talked about potential teams for Trae last stream, but I'm a little surprised a team like Milwaukee didn't offer a little more than that just to get him and throw another dart at the board.
What expiring contract did they have, though? That was
well, they don't, but they've been talking about. I mentioned Portis earlier, so they've been linked to all kinds of trades revolving around Portis and Kuzma. So you send them to a team maybe for an expiring contract and have that expiring contract go to Milwaukee or to Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a possibility, but yeah. I just thought I'm surprised they did. That wasn't with how cheap Washington got him. I would have thought that would have been a kind of a low risk potential good fit for a team like Milwaukee, but I understand his contract's kind of hard.
Do you remember when I listed them as Washington as a sneaky team for Domantas Sabonis if he was on the trade market this trade deadline? Do you remember that?
No.
I had a feeling earlier in the year that, like, they were going to be a sneaky team to trade for, like, a big name player to just accelerate their rebuild a little bit and get an offensive piece that could play make a little bit, because that's kind of what they were missing. So I listed them for Sabonis because he's a playmaking center, and I thought he would be a good fit next to Sarr, or Sarr could mask some of his defensive stuff and space the floor, and, you know, that'd be an interesting offensive combination. Although Sabonis with Miles Turner didn't really work that well. Sarr's better offensively this year than Miles Turner has ever been. But I had that feeling that Washington could be one of these teams. I don't know if anybody in chat remembers me saying that, but I didn't expect it to be Trae Young, though, so I was a bit surprised by it.
Very weird.
Anyway, here's the Eastern Conference standings. Detroit continues to have a lead here. Go ahead.
Let me just say one more thing about that trade.
Yeah.
We talked about Vit Krejci and Luke Kennard being on the Atlanta Hawks, and maybe they don't need both of them.
Yeah.
Now they have Kispert too. That's 3. Yeah. Would you be surprised if they moves one of those 3 and we have?
How would you rank those 3 in terms of, like, who you want on this team? Like, if you could just choose to add one of those 3.
I mean, if I could just pick one of the 3 to add, it would obviously be Krejci. His contract is unbelievable compared to those other 2. But yeah.
Who's number 2?
He's probably the least likely. I don't know. I'd probably take Kennard just because his contract isn't long term like Kispert's is.
Does it expire after this season?
I think it might. And I don't think he's going to get as much as he had been getting with, like, Memphis and stuff. So
yeah. I mean, he's a.
Or is he on a minimum? Or Like, what is?
No, he's on like a $11 million contract, I think.
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
believe. Let me look. Yeah, he's making $11 million. 1 year, $11 million contract. Look at me. I know contracts off the top of my head, chat. He's a lethal 3-point shooter, but per 36, guess how many attempts he's shooting per 36? 3-point attempts.
Well, this year it's down, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like far lower.
I mean, he's not.
I think.
How many minutes is he playing?
He's playing 20 minutes a game.
He hasn't. The games I've seen of Atlanta, he hasn't shot much.
Yeah, I don't know. He would get more shots here for sure.
Yeah.
But he's shooting 5.5 3-point attempts per 36 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, he was shooting 8.6. So that's down. But like, dude, his shooting on this team. I wish he was a little better defensively or a little bit bigger, but for just a 3-point specialist, the last 6 seasons, the worst he's shot from 3 is 43.3%.
Mm-hmm.
For his career, he's 43.8%. And he does have a little bit of passing. Per 36 this year, averaging 4 assists per game. Last year was 5.3. So
yeah, he showed a little bit of passing on the
he's
Grizzlies.
actually a lot like Krejci to me, just
a little smaller.
3 inches shorter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could play him at some 3. The thing is, like with Denny playing point guard right now, he would make a lot of sense as somebody that you could hide on like either guard position, whoever is weaker, and have Tamani guard the other guard. Denny can guard forwards. I just think next year with the 4 guards, you're already kind of prone to going small. So if like yeah, I don't know. Like I struggle to see somebody having playing time if they're not a legitimate forward next year, unless the Blazers make a move to consolidate. Something like trade one of their guards away or 2 of their guards away.
Yeah.
Because you're already looking at next year, you're probably, if you're healthy, you're probably going to play some 3-guard lineups.
Yeah.
And you have Tamani as the starting 3 already. And you have Denny and Jeremy at the power forward positions. Like, that's the thing is I feel like trading for a shooter is something that would matter for the rotation this year, but then be a like non-rotation guy unless there's injuries next year, which there always is injuries, so they end up playing, but I just don't see, like, if you have a bench with 2 of Drew, Sharp, or Scoot, and then you also have Jeremy Grant off the bench, and then you have a backup center, like, I don't see where the rest of the minutes come from. That's a 9-man rotation with your 6th, 7th, and 8th man being heavy minute guys.
Yeah, but I mean, just having shooting for situational purposes or for, like you said, if players miss a game, you have a guy that can step up instead of Chris Murray,
Yeah.
I
That's why I like Krejci, because he's making basically a minimum. So it's like if he's not playing some games, that's fine.
But Kennard, you have a couple expiring contracts that if you're not going to re-sign one of them, they're probably worth more in a trade, both Thibault and Robert Williams, than Kennard is. So you might be able to get some draft capital back, either from a third team or from Atlanta. And then, I mean, like I said, I don't know if Kennard's making that much in this offseason. So you could either re-sign him for cheap or let him go and figure out a different type of shooter this offseason, but it does help you prolong that decision.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael Kroll, member for 16 months, says Kennard getting those Denny dimes. Yeah, just anybody that can shoot at that level, just imagining them in the corner taking these Chris Murray threes instead is pretty fun. So the rumor is like Atlanta's going to try and still trade for Anthony Davis. I just don't really know how they do that now, because they won't be able to aggregate CJ's contract. So I guess it would be like Porzingis plus, I forget who the contract is, the other contract they'd attach to that. But I kind of like Porzingis with AD, because AD likes playing the 4, and if he's playing the 4, I like having a stretch 5, which I guess Okongwu is as well. So you could start, Jalen Johnson at the 3, Anthony Davis at the 4, and Okongwu on the 5 at the 5. And then I guess your point guard could be CJ, but I kind of like the idea of like Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson, Anthony Davis, and Okongwu. The shooting might be a little bit rough, but it's somewhat intriguing defensively just because of the size and some of the switchability. But we'll see what Atlanta does. I mean, they're going to find a way to stay in the play-in. Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, look at them. The 3 Musketeers of the Eastern Conference play-in at 8, 9, and 10. Charlotte lost today, but they were playing good basketball lately. They beat OKC. It's funny because I said recently, like, I feel like that team next year is going to be like the surprise team that climbs out of the cellar and wins a surprising amount of games, and then they go and beat OKC shortly afterwards, and have been winning some games lately. So I don't think they'll be able to play their way up to 10. But they have the thing is, these teams at the bottom of the East outside of Indiana, I think, have looked better than expected this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Charlotte, Brooklyn, and Washington all have been a little bit more competitive than I thought.
Yeah.
Here's also why I don't think the NBA needs to do anything about freaking tanking. Like, you look at how competitive Charlotte, Brooklyn, and Washington are being. Maybe they tank in April, but is that really such an issue for the league? Like, these teams are being competitive right now. You got 2 of them within 5 games of a play-in still. In Charlotte and Brooklyn, like, you go to the West, I mean, Utah's been decently competitive the first half of this year, a little bit more competitive than expected. You really only have 3 teams that are bottom dwellers, and one of them doesn't even have their own pick. The 3 teams are Sacramento, the Pelicans, and the Pacers, and the Pacers were 1 game away from winning a championship last year, and now are just decimated with injury and
that's just, they're not trying to lose on purpose.
Yeah, like they suck, and tanking for a year would end up being good for them, but it's just like there's not really any non-competitive teams right now outside of those 3 teams.
Well, they also got lucky that New Orleans was stupid and traded their pick back to them.
Yeah.
After Halliburton got hurt. Like, what were they thinking?
They were thinking we're going to use the 23rd pick
23rd
to trade
pick
up to 13 with our own pick to get Derek Queen. Because that's what they did, yeah. They essentially traded Indiana's, it was a top 3 protected pick, I think, or like light protection, maybe it was top 4. A lightly protected Indiana pick this year, as well as their own pick for Derek Queen. So you could be looking at the 1st and like the 6th picks in this year's draft. But yeah, it's been interesting to watch the East. You still got Toronto playing well enough to maybe get home court advantage. Philadelphia has Embiid back now, and they've been solid. Orlando needed a banked 3 buzzer beater from Paulo Banchero today to beat the Nets in overtime after Yegor Jomin, is how you say his name, got hot from 3 late. That's the thing with Brooklyn is Michael Porter Jr. has been really good this year, and Nick Claxton's been really good. Day'Ron Sharpe is maybe the most underrated player in the league, and like he's up there in that conversation for me. And then some of their rookies been playing well, so they've actually been a surprisingly fun team. I actually watched that game in OT. It was a fun game to watch, but Cleveland team to watch at the deadline is like maybe they pull off a surprise. I don't expect anything, but maybe this is the year they trade Jared Allen, move Mobley to the 5. I don't know. But those are the Eastern Conference standings. Anyway, we're going to wrap up the show. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the post-game show. Use promo code Uprise. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100 and a free $20 entry. No deposit required. You don't have to put any of your money in to get that free $20 entry. You just have to use the code. It helps us out. And then you get a free $20 entry. And if you win, it's free money basically. So make sure to take advantage of that deal. Make sure you use that promo code Uprise. We got the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend. We got college football playoffs. So lots of good football, lots of good basketball. So make sure to check them out. College basketball, of course, as well. This is kind of the time of year where we start to ramp up the scouting. I'm a little behind this year, I feel like, though, Eric. Like, I know the players that are at the top of the draft, but I haven't scouted them quite to the level that I have scouted players in the past couple of years. So I need to catch up a little bit.
Yeah. Always tough to do.
Yeah. I want to put together a big
With life.
board, I want to put together a big board. But use promo code Uprise on Sleeper. Shout out to them. Next stream will be a Friday postgame show after the Blazers take on the Rockets again. Another 7 p.m. tip-off time. We'll have picks against the spread in Discord either tomorrow or Friday, whichever day has more games. So stay tuned for that. Join our Discord for that. And that's the schedule coming up. I mean, we talked about how this team, I think, what did I say? After the Spurs game, I said I want them to go at least 2-2 in their next 4 games. Well, they're 2-0 because they've won 4 in a row. They're taking care of business. Now you got this team again. After Tari Eason's comments, I have a bad feeling Denny's not going to get foul calls, even if he gets fouled next game. Like, that's just my gut feeling after Tari made those comments. But you got that, and then the Knicks have been somewhat beatable lately. They've lost a couple games. They win tonight. They beat the Clippers tonight, but like Josh Hart's missed some time. Their rim protection isn't the best, and the Blazers like to get to the rim. I don't hate that matchup for the Blazers. Of course, they almost beat the Knicks at home last season until Mikal Bridges hit a buzzer beater. So if the Blazers can somehow win these next 2 games as well, then they're at 500, and then they go on the road to play their favorite team to play, which is the Golden State Warriors. Then they have CJ return with the Hawks and come back home. I don't know, man. I'm hopeful that by the 23rd, they'll be at least 500, which would, that's after the Raptors game. They have 8 games until then. They would have to go 5-3. That's my hope, that we're sitting there talking about a team that's at least 23-23 on January 23rd. Anyway, anything else, Eric?
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Appreciate y'all. Hope to see you Friday after the Blazers beat Houston again.
Yeah, what a win for the Blazers. What an eventful game. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to Denny Avdia, 41 points, man. I'm just waiting for a new career high from him. He almost got it today. Almost got past 43, which is his career high set a couple years ago. He's playing like a freaking star. Yesterday was triple vote day. I was going to plug it on the post-game show for All-Star game, but now it's past midnight over here, so I don't think it's triple vote day anymore. But make sure to vote him for All-Star game. Shout out to who do I even want to give my shout outs to? I mean, Denny did some good defensive things. Shout out to Tamani did some good defensive things. Shout out to Tamani for losing a tooth, sacrificing a tooth. Shout out to Klingon for being a shooter. Shout out to the rest of the team for giving him grenades, though. Shout out to Sissoko for fouling his ass off. Shout out to Caleb Love for doing some other things other than shooting. Shout out to Young Hansen for playing 17 minutes and the Blazers being +2 with him on the court. He was playable today. But, of course, biggest shout out of the day goes to Denny. We're out of here. Have a good rest of your night. We'll catch you again on Friday. Looking forward to that one. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.